dimes, I'm hard. In the project courtyard, at the Ox store on the boulevard. Times is hard, so I'm moving dimes, I'm hard.
Ayo, LAZ, make sure you check that new single from the bro Chief Cherokee featuring me, LAZ. You heard Z-Man Suicide Polo with the Ski Man. That's on all streaming platforms, and that's called Times is Hard.
Hey yo, LAZ, I'm in Queens Bridge to be exact. Shout out to the whole Queensbridge project. I just left my dudes at the How It Happened podcast. Just did an exclusive interview with them dudes. Make sure you go over there and check that interview. Make sure you subscribe, leave some comments, and tell them Z-Man Suicide Polo with the Ski Man sent you. You heard? Z-Lord, get at me.
Hey yo, LAZ, shout out to the bro Mecca Don. Shout out to the whole Harlem, Sugar Hill. You heard we talking vintage Rikers Island and New York State Prison history on this one. You heard extreme Coxsackie historic moments. Shout out to the whole Gen Pop. You heard Comment Gang, I need y'all to tear this up. Shout out to Black Knowledge, Outborn. Make sure you share this on Facebook and hit that like button. You are now watching New York State Prison is Different, the series.
So I'm in my cell and they locked the jail down. Everybody trying to figure out what happened, why we locked down. And so when the mess hall workers came through and the dudes were serving the food, I'm like, yo, what happened, yo? Whoever was serving the food came by and was like, yo, they killed Bug. I'm like, what? Niggas like, yeah, they killed Bug, yo. Somebody that I know, somebody that I had grown close to was murdered in jail. And so from this point on, I need to move accordingly. From this point on, it ain't no more playing with razors. From this point on, when they said, there's a saying, I was once a boy and I dealt with childish things. But once I became a man, I set aside those childish things. And when Bull got killed, I set aside all childish things. So, yeah, first of all, I just want to shout out all the people that was mentioned in part one. You know what I'm saying? Respect due to all of those brothers. You know what I'm saying? Me and Lord Ducorn actually became very good friends after fighting 5 times. But they say you don't know a man until you fight him. You know what I'm saying? And then I also want to say rest in peace to Un. Shout to Duke, Dog, Mano, Prince Dre, London, Frazier, John Rambo, B.O. Ty, Lord Killer, Fort Green, Khalid, Lord Just. You know what I'm saying? Hook Off. And, anybody else that I might have mentioned in episode 1. We was in. So after that, I go to One Upper with Uptown. Now I'm a little tight that I'm in One Upper because I really was chilling this time in Fort Maine. Like, it wasn't like, when I was on the island the first time, like this time I really kind of was chilling. I had went up north. I had gained a lot of information while I was up north, and I had matured a lot up north. And so I just really honestly wasn't moving the same way at all. I'm doing a different type of bid because now I'm sentenced. And I got 21 years. And so I'm not interested in the shit that other niggas got going on. I'm more interested in chilling, talking to my people on the phone, and going to law library and trying to fight this case. Which is but I always held John Rambo in very high regards because he was one of the main individuals that really, really was adamant about going to that law library. If we would be in the hallway fucking off doing the shit that we was doing, John would be like, yo, man, fuck is you doing, bro? You out here in the hallway, my nigga, you need to be in the law library. The people trying to put your lights out. You got a body, what is you doing, yo? And that, you know, John prompted me to really get serious about taking my case serious. I had a very serious case. And it wasn't that I didn't take it serious in my mind. You know, I got a paid attorney. My lawyer got it. But what John was telling me was that nobody knows your case better than you. The lawyer don't know the case better than you. The lawyer don't know the nuances of the case better than you. Nobody knows your case better than you. So there's nobody better suited to research your case better than you. And so the more I start researching the case, the more I start seeing procedural error. You know? And that's what John was telling me, like, yo, you got to find some type of errors, man. You got to look for them errors. Look for everything they did wrong. And so I remember going to the law library, and there was this elder guard. His name was Lord of Law. And Lord of Law was like the clerk in the law library. And he was always, he was a very astute individual. And I'll never forget, I walked in the law library with him. And when I walked in the law library with this dude named Jeff, I never forget, a dark-skinned brother named Jeff from BK. He was a cool dude. And when I walked in the law library, I introduced myself, you know, and I'm like, how you doing? My name is Malik. I'm looking to research my case on this and this and this. And he's like, all right, cool. And he asked the other brother, he's like, what's your name? He's like, my name is Jeff. And he looked at that brother and said, young brother, do you know what a Jeff is? And I was taken aback for a second because I knew what he was talking about, you know, but Jeff didn't know what he was talking about. And so he, you know, went in a dictionary and kind of pulled it up for him, just to show him what his name kind of meant. And what he was trying to tell him in that moment was, you need the knowledge of yourself. Your name ain't Jeff. You need knowledge of yourself. You need an attribute. You need an attribute that represents who you are and not the name they gave you. You know, and that was the first thing that stood out to me very distinctively with Lord of Law in the law library. And then he said to me, you know, well, what you locked up for? And I was like, well, I got murder in the second degree, criminal possession of a weapon, and public discharge of a firearm. And he was like, did you get caught with a gun? I was like, no. He's like, so how you got criminal possession of a weapon? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, all right, well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get you the books, and I'm going to show you how to research your own case. And so he took me to the CPL books, Criminal Procedure Law, and showed me, you know, the case numbers. And so homicide in New York City is designated as 125.25. And so I looked up 125.25, and then you look at every other, you begin to look at all the cases in that category, everything under 125 and 125.25. We look from 125.25 on to find cases similar to yours, or cases where there were procedural errors. And so I began to do that. I began to get into the law library and really begin to study my case and look for procedural error. And it was John that kind of prompted me, like, you know, to get serious about studying my case, get serious about looking for Brady material, get serious about looking for procedural error, and get serious for just about, you know, studying criminal law itself, so that because it wasn't just criminal law he was saying to study, he was saying to start studying administrative law, because administrative law is the law that governs Rikers Island. He like, you need to know what these people can do and what they can't do legally. And once you start telling them people what they can't do and you start giving them case file numbers, they tend to fall back. a lot. They tend to fall back from you a lot because now they realizing that this dude is a walking lawsuit, basically. Once you know what they can't do to you on an administrative level. So being in One Upper frustrated me because in administrative segregation, they trying to tell me that, well, you got to write down the case number. The law clerk will look up your case and send you the cases that you looking to look up. But, at that point, I wasn't well versed enough in the law to tell some law clerk exactly what case I'm looking for. I knew to start at 125.25 and keep going down and keep looking through the cases. You know what I'm saying? And so I was incredibly frustrated because I could no longer research my own case. And so I had to get my attorney involved. And really just make sure that he did everything that he could to see to it that I was able to access law library. And so my lawyer got involved, and he started making me aware of that, again, law library is the one thing that they really cannot intervene in. They cannot play with you in your ability to research your own case. And so from that point, like I said, I was frustrated because when you up north, you really could get away from a lot of BS, avoid a lot of BS by just keeping your head in the books and staying in the law library, And so again, I always appreciated John for prompting me and pushing us, because John would get at all of us about that shit. And a lot of times you can't hear wisdom unless it comes from your peers, or you won't act on that wisdom, unless it comes from your peers. And so since it was coming from somebody that I respected, it really made me delve further into the law as much as I could, because at this point I got 21 years. And so it ain't no room to be fucking around in the hallway chasing chains and going from one adult house to another adult house trying to find a bag of weed. I'm past that. I'm sentenced, and I'm really trying to get into my litigation more. And so long story short, I go from One Upper back to One Main Bing, and they send me up north. They send me back up north. But what I'm gonna do is kind of take a step back from the day I left Rikers Island to go up north initially. And leaving Rikers Island was it was almost surreal because I had been there almost 2 years. And when you in a place for 2 years, as bizarre as it sounds, it's like you leaving home. Because this is the place I'm most familiar with, at least in terms of incarceration. I've been here for almost 2 years now. I'm familiar with this space. And now I'm going to an unfamiliar space. Now, I done heard the stories about up north. You hear stories. O had been up north, so O used to tell me, man, up north stories, what not to do, what to look out for, you know what I'm saying, and what not to get yourself involved in. So O used to hand me a lot of game because he had been up north already, you know what I'm saying, and so I'm taking that game in, and just trying to understand what I'm about to get myself into.
You talking about OG Mac?
Right. I'm talking about OG Mac. OG Mac was giving me game on, he had been up north, and he was giving me game on, what not to get involved in, and what to avoid, what to stay away from, and and just what to expect, so to speak. He was telling me about how the prison guards get down in the mountains. You no longer on Rikers Island dealing with people that look like you, basically. You're no longer dealing with people of the same complexion, let's just say, when you get up north, you're dealing with the Caucasoid demon. And so, I remember getting a downstate. And when I got to downstate, I had a T number. And so, mostly everybody else had A and B numbers, whether it be 90A or 90B. And the A or B would designate what reception facility you came through. And it will also be a designation of what time of year you came through. I had a T number, 90T. And so the T number represent that you were the 10,000 person. You were amongst the group of the 10,000 people to come up north. And that was always significant to me, because I was like, damn, they ain't already got 10,000 motherfuckers up here? You know what I'm saying? Like, wow, it's that many dudes up here? And that wasn't how many dudes was up there. That was just how many people had came through that facility. Over 10,000 sentenced inmates had came through that facility. So I go through downstate, they cut my hair, I get the ball deal, whatever, but I'm seeing a lot of adults that was in the 4 building or whatever, that we might have had a mutual respect for each other, but a lot of those adults have been up north already. And so they telling me like, yo, come over here, shorty, stay over here with us. Like, they embrace me, so to speak, you know what I mean? Because they know this is my first time up north, but they also know, they kind of know my pedigree and what I come from. And they know, like, if I got you, I'm going to let it go. And so they trying to show me, like, this ain't the Allen, baby boy. Like, you don't want to be popping off in the mess hall. And, I know they pedigree, they know my pedigree. It's a mutual respect. But mind you, I'm still 17. Mind you, I'm only 17. So I still have the temperament of a 17-year-old. I've grown, older and wiser, but I think I grew wiser in terms of being combative. I grew wiser in terms of attacking and defending. I grew wiser in terms of survival methods, right? But I had not grown patient. And patience is a wisdom within itself. And so I get around these older G's and they, letting me know, baby boy, this ain't the 4 building. You don't want to be jumping off the line in the mess hall and popping off on these dudes, because that's a tier 3. You know what I'm saying? Like these dudes that have you in SHU for 2 years, especially popping off in the mess hall, because they gonna hit you with inciting the riot. And so, like I said, these guys had been, they was already experienced in being up north, and they was experienced in the repercussions of warfare. So I'm taking the game in and I'm adhering to what they telling me, because ultimately I'm trying to get back to the law library. I got 21 years and I need to get back to the law library. I need to try to find a way to get some of this time back. Get resentenced, something. 40-40 motion, something. Like, at that point I had did some studying and I have an idea of, what can get you a reversal, or a time cut, so to speak. So now I'm like, just really going through the motions in downstate. And the good thing is, like, nothing really popped off in downstate. Downstate was a quiet storm for me. I'm gonna be quite honest with you. There was a few dudes in there, that they may have been opposition on the island, but now that we up north now, it appears that nobody's really carrying them same situations into the mountains.
Yeah, it be like everybody be too worried when you come up top and you going up top for your first time. Everybody be too worried and too much anxiety thinking about where they gonna end up and what's gonna go down.
a lot of that old Allen beef be getting left behind.
Exactly. I concur, because in my mind, like, nigga, I don't got time to be thinking about you or your Ringling Brothers shit. I got this time. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going. You know, like, we all having conversations, and all of the older dudes are telling me, Shorty, you 17. Shorty, you 17. Like you probably gonna go to Coxsackie or Comstock. At this point, I'm dealing with my apprehensions. I'm trying to find out, you know, what jail I'm going to, you know, and I'm just, it's another unknown. Like, when I first got to the 4 building, that first hour or so in the building, I don't know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And so, fear don't mean you always scared. Fear is the unknown. It's not knowing what you're stepping into next. So I would say I was apprehensive, you know, and obviously you done heard the stories from the 4 building, how there's booty bandits and all type of other shit. And I'm like, yo, you know, I'm just paying attention to everything. When I go to the shower, I'm watching every dude in the shower. I'm watching everybody in the shower.
Where you at? You still in downstate?
Huh?
You still in downstate? You talking about?
I'm still in downstate. So I'm watching everything and everybody, because I'm up north now. Even though I'm in downstate and it's a reception facility, I'm way on point, because I just done heard the stories about up north. I don't realize that this is just a reception facility, so to speak.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it can't go down in downstate, because it has went down in downstate.
It goes down. It goes down. Know, it was popping off downstate. There was some dudes, you know, that had their issues, whatever issues they had from the island or whatever. They was resolving their issues.
Yeah, dudes wasn't forgiving cuts and shit like that. Like, if it was somebody in your block or next to your block that cut you, niggas was getting it in.
Right. So there was dudes that was, you know what I'm saying, that was handling their business. You know what I'm saying? But I myself didn't have no bandits in downstate. I didn't have nobody that I assaulted, cut, or disrespected. And to be quite honest with you, I'm not a disrespectful dude. So, you know, I've always carried myself in a manner befitting a gentleman. So I never had a bunch of unnecessary beef. You know, a lot of situations that I might have been involved in was me holding my comrades down. You know what I'm saying? So their beef was my beef by proxy. But I'm not a disrespectful dude, so I didn't have a bunch of unnecessary beef where I really was watching my back for everything moving. There was a war going on. I had been involved in shit, but again, like, you know, I didn't have a bunch of bandits dudes that I had physically cut that was like, oh, this dude looking for me and that dude looking for me. I had a couple of bandits running around, but fortunately, they wasn't in that facility. And you know, the conversation is, for most part, is, you know, where we going. And most dudes was telling me, like, Shorty, you only 17, you probably gonna go to the cat. And so that's Coxsackie. And so, long story short, you know, they was like, you gonna go to Elmira, you gonna go to Coxsackie, because those are the jails where they house youth incarceration. The younger dudes, that's where they gonna usually house the younger dudes that's under 18, or rather under 21. Because if you under 21, you still an adolescent up north. On the island, you an adolescent until you 19. But if you under 21, you still an adolescent in terms of being in the state prison system. So eventually I get packed up. They send me to Shawanga. Shawanga is a maxi max. But I get to Shawanga, I'm in transit. I go from Shawanga to Elmira. They keep me in transit. I go from Elmira, they take me to Great Meadows, Comstock. I'm still in transit. So when you in transit, that shit is the worst, because they don't let you out. you're not on the count. You're not on that jails count. You're not on the facility count. You can't go to commissary. Like it's a rough ride.
And they be doing niggas filthy. Like they'll tell you, we coming back to get y'all tomorrow, and you won't see them niggas for the next 5 days, and your ass starving.
That's what happened to me almost every spot I went to. We come back to get you in the morning, and they wasn't coming back to get me for 5 and 7 days, yo. So I'm spending days at a time in each one of these facilities in transit. And so now I'm getting real frustrated because I don't have no resources. I don't got my cosmetics is running low. You know what I'm saying? I can't go to commissary. They're not letting me do no shopping in each one of these jails. So, you know, before you know it, you know, I done been in transit for a month. I done been in transit for a month, going from jail to jail, and I'm like, damn, the fuck I do to these people that got them bouncing me around like this? I wound up going to Coxsackie, just like the OGs was telling me. Shorty, you probably gonna wind up in the cat, because that's where they send all the young boys. But be on point when you get to the cat, because the cat is truly gladiator school. Coxsackie was the true gladiator school. Coxsackie would eventually prepare me for everything else to come. Anything you could experience in jail, I would experience in Coxsackie. Mind you, I'm 17 years old. I'm still not, you know, I'm matured, but I'm still not an adult, so to speak. I'm in adult situations, but I'm not physically an adult yet. I get to Coxsackie. I'm on lockdown for the first couple of days. Same thing, like and they got you in reception. Boom. They put me in B block. B block was the mess hall block, and it's very important. This is a very important part of this because this is where I would meet Eminem, Boogaloo, Big Eye True, and Black Just was there. Now I knew Just, you know, from the adolescents or whatever, nigga Joggy. I knew Just from the adolescents, you know, from being a young boy or whatever. But you know, when I get to B1, not B1, C1, I believe it was. That was the mess hall, and so the dudes that was in the mess hall was for the most part real solid dudes. They was most of them was much older than me. You know what I'm saying? Most of them was at least, you know, 21 to 22. I'm 17, so they was much older than me. Big Eminem was an adult. He probably was like 29 or something. Boogaloo and them, these dudes had did two bids already. These dudes have been up north more than once. They had been bidding for a long different times or whatever have you. You know what I'm saying? And then I feel like I met little Boss Son there, which was the older Boss Son, and Big B.O. So I finally lock out on B1.
What year you said this was again, Parzo?
This is 1990. This is 90. This is probably December 90. November. This is November, December 90. I went up north like maybe late October, early November of 90. And so this is sometime within those months, November, December of 1990. I finally get to Coxsackie. I'm in C block, and when I finally lock out, who came to my cell? One of them dudes came to my cell. You know, Shorty, you all right? And you know, again, I'm apprehensive. Why you coming to my cell, though? What you mean, sure? Yeah, I'm all right. I'm good, Joe. And so niggas is like, easy, Shorty, you good? You know what I'm saying? You good? I'm like, yeah, all right, Joe. And I'm just looking at these dudes like, man, if you don't get the fuck off of my gate with that shit, man, word up, yo. Cause in my mind, like, I don't know you, you don't know me, I don't want to get to know you. I'm leery. Like I said, I've been on the island hearing up north stories. I've been hearing up north stories about niggas throwing a Snicker bar in your bed and all of that shit. Like, so I'm not trying to interact with none of these dudes, and I'm not trying to make no friends like that. Like, you know, I would rather be able to observe these individuals out in the open than to have you come to my gate and try to kick it with me and play cool. Because in my mind, you trying to get familiar is you trying to fill me out. You trying to see where my head is at. You trying to see where my strength is at. And so I'd rather let you see where my strength is at when I lock out. I go in the shower. I'm in the shower with the crazy ice grill. I'm washing up. I'm watching my back. And Big Eye True came in the shower. And he was a true G. Like, you know what I'm saying? Homie was like a real G, a real warrior too. You know what I'm saying? Big Eye True came in the shower, and I'm washing up, and I'm looking at this nigga like, my nigga, I'm ready for it. As soon as one of you niggas try it, I'm ready for it. And Big Eye True looked at me like, yo, shorty, you alright, shorty. Ain't nobody gonna play with you in here, man. We don't get down like that. My name is I True. I'm God Cypher Divine. I'm like, oh, all right. I'm like, all right. Well, glorious. My name Malik. Glorious Salam Malik. You know what I'm saying? And he like, all right, shorty, but you good though. Ain't nobody. We don't get down like that in here, shorty. He said, were you just coming from the 4 building? I'm like, yeah. He like, no wonder. He like, it's your first time. He said, how old are you, shorty? I'm like, I'm 17. He like, no wonder, you young. He said, I ain't gonna knock you for it, shorty. You don't know no better. You just coming up. You doing what you supposed to be doing. You supposed to be on point. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm a little less apprehensive. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm in my mind, like, homie got knowledge himself or whatever. So he's not a savage in pursuit of happiness. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not. I don't get the energy from him like he's some booty bandit dude trying to play with me. So I go back to my cell, lock in. I lock back in because, mind you, I'm still like in reception in their house. So like I'm on the count, but I'm still in reception. You know, when you first get to the jail, they have you in reception for like 7 to 3 days. I don't remember how many days it was. It was either 3 days or 7 days. Before you get your program. Like you got to get a program or whatever. And so I got lucky. I didn't go to where you go get programs and all that. They just cracked my cell. Like after about 7 days, they just cracked my cell and was like, mess hall. I'm in the mess hall house. So they like, mess hall. I'm like, all right. So I think it was Big Eminem came by, and he would become my guy, man. He was just a big, monstrous, huge dude, man. Just a big diesel dude, and he was mad, like wise. He was real wise. He had a funny, squeaky voice, but his appearance would give you the appearance that this nigga just like a muscle-bound goon. And he was a big diesel goon, but he was incredibly intelligent too. And so he used to be teaching me shit. You know what I'm saying? So I always appreciated Big Eminem because from the minute my cell cracked, when my cell cracked, I'm not knowing what's going on. And the police is like, mess hall. And I'm not knowing if he's telling me I'm going to the mess hall or what. So Eminem is like, shorty, get up. They gave you a mess hall job, shorty, get up. Come on, let's go to work, shorty. So I get up, I get dressed, I go to the mess hall. And now that I go to the mess hall, I'm actually seeing who's around me. Because remember, the whole time I was on that particular gallery, I don't know nobody. I'm not seeing nobody. A lot of these dudes, they go to work. They at work all day. The cell block is quiet all day because everybody at work. When they come back, they all come, like 1 or 2 people come back early. They cooking for like everybody else. or they cooking for the people they cool with, whoever their little affiliations are, you know, whoever their little clique is, because you know up north is real cliquey. Everybody moving their own circles, you know. But back then, to be honest with you, the guards still meant something. You know what I'm saying? The guards still had some type of strength on the yard. You know what I mean? They still had a little unity. So when I come out my cell, you know, it's a couple of guards, like I said, in the house. It's I True, Big Just. It's a couple of dudes that's guard bodies. So they looking out for me because in their mind, that's the young guard right there. You know, they seeing me as the young guard. And to me, they the older guards. You know what I mean? And so they looking out for me, giving me information, giving me wisdom, and just trying to guide me through my first, you know, steps as I'm coming to the jail. Because mind you, I ain't even been to the yard yet. I ain't even been to the yard yet, you know. And when you on like that little reception thing, they not even letting me go to like Keep Lock Rec because I'm not on Keep Lock. So if you on Keep Lock, you can at least go to Rec. I'm not on Keep Lock. I'm on reception status. So they just got me locked in. I go to the mess hall. I'm getting I'm you know, figuring everything out. I'm seeing who do what. Big Shakur was like the big head cook. They had this big fat obese white man named Primo that was the police that you know pretty much was in charge of the mess hall. But
which Shakur you talking about though?
Big Shakur was from Queens. And he was a big dude. I mean, homie was like 6'6", like, you know, 350, like a big dude. Your man Pauls was tall and wide. You know what I'm saying? He was a big guy, and he pretty much was like the head cook for the facility. Like, far as the prisoners is concerned, he was like the head cook. So he had a lot of respect and he had a lot of time. He was a part of the Muslim community. He had a lot of respect. He had a lot of time, and he had a lot of respect, obviously, because he's feeding the prisoners. You know, and you don't never want to mess with the dude that's preparing your food. And that's just like a prerequisite. That's just an unwritten rule anywhere. You don't want to walk in the restaurant and be disrespectful to somebody that's about to serve your food. And so the same thing held for the people in the mess hall. Shakur had like a lot of respect because as time went on, I would see like, you know, if they pulled out, if they was making like something beef stew, the beef stew came in slabs like steak. Shakur would cut that steak up. They would cut the police a little bit up and break them a piece off and let them cook their own shit. But Shakur would fry that steak up for all of us, all the mess hall workers. You know, so when you work in the mess hall, you're not eating like everybody else. You actually eating way better than everybody else because you in the mess hall. Whenever they got chicken on Sundays, you know, Shakur would take the chicken and strip the chickens down and make different type of chicken meals or whatever, you know. He would make the food good for everybody else, but the shit that we eating in the mess hall is a whole nother level. And so I was lucky where that was concerned because I kind of fell into a situation that benefited me. In the mess hall, just had a lot of older, wiser guys that had already did the gen pop thing everywhere else, and they went to the mess hall. Number one, because you get paid to work in the mess hall. Number two, that's where the money is at. You want onions, you want eggs, you want seasoning, you want anything that's not in commissary that consists of food, you gotta holler at the dudes in the mess hall.
Yeah, so, I was in a mess hall dorm that was crazy wild. Like, some mess hall dorms is out of control. I was in one, that shit was like a jungle.
Yeah, it was, you know, they had their moments where shit popped off, and this is why I said this is an important part of my life because I got cool with Boogaloo too. Boogaloo was in there. Boog them niggas was robbers, straight BK robbers, and they used to be, Boog them was like on some Midtown shit, but they was hitting the Diamond District though. Like, they was renowned robbers. They was known for getting big money. Like, they wasn't no petty robbers snatching chains and none of that. These dudes was hitting armored cars. These dudes was hitting the Jewish dudes in the Diamond District. These dudes would sit there and watch the guy coming out of the jewelry store and catch $100 grand worth of jewels and diamonds. So these cats wasn't like no low level, no low level robbers. They was official. These cats was was organized criminals. They knew what they was doing. They wasn't just going out to I learned from Boog. Boog used to say to me, robbers take what they see, but a thief plans. And so they didn't consider themselves just average everyday robbers. They consider themselves jewel thieves. And there's a significant difference. When you watch a movie and you see the jewel thief, like, he done mapped out the whole location. He got to know the security situation. He got to know if they got motion sensors. There's a whole lot to being a jewel thief.
It's an intelligent crime. It's an intelligent crime. You got to be smart to be a jewel thief. But a robber is a spontaneous pop off.
They take what they see. Robbers take what they see. You got a nice gold chain, they see the gold chain, they come for your gold chain. You know what I'm saying? You got a nice watch, they come for your watch. These dudes wasn't your average everyday robber. They consider themselves jewel thieves. And so, talking to Boog, he had a lot of stories that just used to interest me. I'm young, mind you, I'm 17. And so I'm incredibly interested in this because, when I went to jail, prison was college for criminals. It was the next level. If C-74 was high school, now I'm in college. And I'm getting a college education from dudes that had made mistakes. And they had learned from those mistakes. And so they educated me on what not to do. And so, I got cool with Boog, man. Boog was cool. He was a fly dude, had a cell full of different shoes. And, he was wearing... and some people say, oh, why would you care what they wearing in jail? Like, it's not about caring about what you wear in jail. There's an unwritten policy amongst prisoners. If you could hold it, you could have it. The same thing with the Allen. If you could hold it, you could have it. And so you got to respect a dude that's holding it. If he got it and he holding it down, I'm respecting that part of it. I'm not respecting that, you got, material possessions. I'm respecting that if he got all this shit, he must be official enough to hold it down. When I met Robo Just on the Allen, that nigga had a Rolex on. Everybody wasn't running around with Rolexes on. You know what I'm saying? If you can hold it, you can have it. So, I'm kicking it with Boog, and I'm learning stuff from him. I'm learning stuff from Eminem. And finally, I go to the yard for the first time. Now, this was incredibly interesting and almost traumatizing because this is my first time on the yard in a maximum security penitentiary. Mind you, again, I was in reception. I'm in the mess hall house. I go straight to the mess hall house. So for the most part, when you work in the mess hall, you're not in the yard with everybody. You at work all day. You're not in the yard with everybody. You at work all day. You're not interacting with the rest of the jail because you literally got a 9 to 5. And so in most cases, the mess hall had a yard behind it. What they call that shit? The sandbox. And so the mess hall workers would be able to go back there and play basketball. There was a pull-up bar back there. So, they got me on my pull-up shit. And I remember this was a pivotal moment because I had went to the state shop, and the state shop gave me these huge T-shirts. And all of them shits was hanging off me like a dress damn near. And I was like, I don't want these shits. They too big, yo. And so I tried to get them to Big Eminem. And Big Eminem was like, nah, shorty. You gonna fill that shirt up, shorty. We're gonna get you Diesel back here. And, months later, that shirt was fitting me. That shirt was fitting me like I was one of them. You know what I'm saying? I literally filled that shirt in. But like I said, I go to the yard for the first time. I had seen people in the mess hall while I'm in the mess hall serving the food, but I couldn't really go to the yard to really connect with nobody. You know, everybody tell me, yo, come to the yard, come to the yard. But when you finish a day in that mess hall, you don't want to go to the yard after you finish in the mess hall. You want to go take a shower and go chill because you've been working all day. So finally, I go to the mess hall. I go to the yard. Boom. I see one of the first people I see was Khalif or whatever. So we kick it for a second. I'm spinning the yard, and when I'm spinning the yard, I see the first thing I see. You know, after I seen Khalif, the first thing I see is the dude boxing shot, and he's leaning up on the wall with this chump, with the gay boy, this dude named Tracy Brown. And he leaning up on this dude, and they're fucking looking into each other's eyes like they in love. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? And so like I said, I'm 17. You don't see that in the 4 building, in the adolescents like that. There was gay dudes in the adolescents. There was a dude named Sean Tate. Sean Tate was cutting niggas. You know what I'm saying? You would see Sean Tate. Sean Tate was holding his own. Sean Tate was definitely holding his own, the gay dude, you know what I'm saying? But I ain't never seen nobody walking through the hallways holding hands with Sean Tate. Now I'm in the big yard in Coxsackie in the center yard, and I see the dude boxing shot linked up on the wall with the chump, and I'm like, hey, yo, fuck is up with your man, B? And Khalif like, that's his bitch. I'm like, wow. Whoa. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was taken aback, I must admit. But this is when I'm spinning the yard with Big Eminem now, and the big homie is schooling me to the etiquette of the center yard and the etiquette of not dealing with certain things and not dealing with certain people. And Big M said to me, yo, the first thing I want you to understand is that don't never confuse a man's sexuality with his ability to defend himself. Don't never think that because that dude is gay, that he can't defend himself. It's like, that's boxing shot. That nigga could fight. Now, you ain't got to respect him. You know what I'm saying? And you ain't even got to respect his way of life. But you do got to respect his right to live. Stay away from them niggas. If you don't want to involve yourself, don't get involved. Stay away from them dudes. You know what I'm saying? He was like, me, myself, I don't think none of them niggas is trustworthy, and I would never trust none of them dudes, because in my mind, if you can't control your sexual urges, what if I put you in front of $100,000? I can't trust you not to steal. Again, if you can't control your sexual urges, then how can I trust you to be around $250,000 and we got it on the table? We about to go to the plug and pay the plug off. You probably can't control your urges to steal. You probably can't control your urge for greed. If you can't control your lust, you definitely can't control your greed. So we don't interact with men like that here. And so I'm listening to the big homie like, he's schooling me. And he was like, and that go the same thing for the chump. Stay away from them dudes, you know what I'm saying? He said, because the reality is, he said, don't never, he said, no. And he was like, he's like, the reality is, homeboy, the dude Tracy Brown had like 15 joints in him. He had time in. He was like, trust me, I was in other jails with homie. Homie know how to take care of himself. That nigga gonna bust his gun. Don't never sleep on that nigga because he gay. And the nigga boxing shot, he said, just stay out that nigga way, because dudes like that, he already out in the open with his gay shit. And so he's already kind of waiting for somebody to try to play him, because he's eager to prove that just because I fuck with the chump don't mean I'm soft. It don't mean I fell off. It don't mean I don't get busy. He said, so you want to stay away from dudes like that because they eager to prove theyself. And you don't want to be around nobody that's eager to prove themselves. So, obviously, in my mind, I'm definitely going to stay away from those individuals. Besides the fact that, just to take it back to the 4 building one time, I seen these niggas in my house in Fort Maine. Niggas try to rape my man. The dude, Midget Tracy, gets off the phone, come in the day room, talking about, yo, I'm ready to fuck some. I'm looking at this nigga like, what the fuck is this nigga talking about? He looks at my man White Mike, and the nigga tried to attack my man White Mike. And so Mike get up and start stealing on this nigga. But this nigga Tracy, he a midget, and them niggas be dumb, strong, and
he a real certified little person, like what they consider.
Yes, a certified little person, like quote unquote midget, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, at least that was his nickname. But this dude was like 30 years old, damn near, in the adolescence.
And you say he was on the phone. He was on the phone, like talking to a chick or something.
Your man is on the phone talking to a chick or whatever. I guess their conversation must have been explicit. She got him open, and now your man come in the day room holding his crotch, talking about, yeah, I'm ready to fuck something now. I'm ready to fuck something. Now I'm looking at this nigga like, nigga, you better find Shantae. Fuck out of here, nigga. You better find Shantae, nigga. Fuck up out of here. And that nigga looked at White Mike and just try to attack the nigga. You know what I'm saying? When that Mike got up and started snuffing this nigga, but you know what I'm saying? Mike was lighting the ass, you know what I'm saying? And so the nigga Tracy was trying to get the best of him. The White Mike was duffing on this nigga because this nigga trying to rape him. This nigga's trying to rape him. He's trying to take some ass. We in an adolescent house. We in Fort Maine, yo. This ain't up north and none of that shit, you know what I'm saying? So even though I don't know nothing about up north at this point, but, I done heard the stories. I done seen the movie Bad Boys, when niggas in a juvenile facility and niggas getting raped and all that kind of shit like that.
And that dude was an adolescent too, or he was playing adolescent?
He was playing adolescent. This nigga was grown. And I think that's probably why he was playing adolescent. So that he could do shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And so the nigga Tracy is attacking White Mike. White Mike is stealing on this nigga, fighting this motherfucker back. And then these two other dudes tried to jump in and help the nigga Tracy. They tried to jump in and help the nigga that's trying to rape my man. So I run up on the kid and I snuff the nigga. The nigga turned around and said, yo, Special Ed, what you doing? Mind your business. I'm like, what am I doing? What the fuck is you doing? Fuck is you doing? Nigga, back up off my man. Yo, you stupid. The other nigga, when I snuffed homie, he backs up too. And now Tracy and Mike is still going at it. And then I guess the police was coming out the bubble, and somebody might have came like, yo, chill, police. And so as soon as they said police, the nigga Tracy went to walk away, but Mike snuffed that nigga again. Stupid nigga. And yeah, that shit was like, for me, that shit was traumatizing because
that shit would have had me fucked up too, nigga. Like,
I was fucked up. Like, yo, this nigga.
And when son was like ran up on him, you said he had his joint out.
No, but he had his hand on his pants. Like, nigga had on sweatpants and he got his hand on his joint. You know what I'm saying?
And he wasn't like he ain't even know White Mike like that.
Nah.
So he wasn't bullshitting, playing around, joking around, none of that shit, right?
None of that, B. He just went at him.
That's in the day room?
In the day room, bro.
That shit is savagery.
In the day room, bro. So there's it ain't no excuse like that you could tell me what your reasoning is. And so my point being, going back to up north, I had seen men that couldn't control their sexual urges. And from that point, I would never respect him or them other two niggas that tried to get themselves involved in the shit. So what y'all was gonna do? Hold me down?
They was supposed to be official dudes, like I'm talking about, like known dudes.
They was let's just say dudes that had phone time in that house. So they may have not been known all over through the jail, but in that particular house, they had a little standing.
And where you said that kid was from, Midget Tracy?
That nigga from Brooklyn. Nigga was from Brooklyn. And so, you know, he tried to take some ass, and niggas wasn't going for it. Niggas wasn't going for it. But the fact that I just had never seen no shit like that in my life. Never, ever. I had never seen nothing like that in my life before. I'm saying, like, homie just attacked him. They got a process where they be grooming niggas for that shit. You know what I'm saying? Homeboy didn't try to do none of that. He just tried to do some straight American me shit and run down on a nigga. But Mike wasn't going for that shit. Mike got down for his. God bless his soul. White Mike from the 90s. He got down for his. And that was the end of that shit. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I'm in the cat. So after I see, you know, Boxer Shot doing what he doing, you know, I'm talking to the big homie Eminem, and he just started, you know, explaining to me a lot of do's and don'ts, you know, where dudes like that is concerned. You know what I'm saying? Like, not even to interact with those dudes, because basically, you know, like it ain't nothing. There's no positive interaction with dudes that's engaging in that type of behavior, basically. So, with that said, you know, I kind of knew, like, this ain't somebody that I want to engage with. And like I said, this is my first time stepping in the yard. This is the first thing I see when I walk in the yard. And again, you know, when I think about what happened in Fort Maine and these dudes trying to jump my man White Mike, you know, that's why I was on like real beast mode when I go to the shower. Like, every jail I go to, I'm in the shower and I'm watching these niggas, because I had actually seen niggas try to rape somebody. So, you know, my actions was actually justified according to my experience. Some dudes might not have probably hadn't seen that, but I did, and I actually participated in stopping that. So again, you know, maybe it's my first time on the yard. I'm just coming up north, and so I'm really on point for everything, because I had seen the foulest shit. I mean, to me, it don't get no fouler than that, than men trying to rape a man. So, you know, I seen the foulest shit, so I'm already on point for pretty much everything, because I know anything and everything can happen. You know, I'm in the big yard with Eminem, and I remember my first little incident. I was serving the food. You know, I'm serving the food, and I remember serving the brownies. And so when you're in the mess hall and you're serving the food, you got to serve whatever's on the tray. Like, you got to serve whatever's on the tray. And so if the police, if there's like a little bitty brownie left on the tray, they're going to make you put it on somebody's plate. Like, they'll make you put it on somebody's plate, unless it's a cool CO there. If it's a cool CO there, then they'll be like, all right, you could throw that away, or you could keep it. But if it's a creep CO there, you know, they're going to make you serve everybody everything that's in every pan. So this dude walked by, and I throws the last brownie up there. I asked the police, like, yo, can I throw this out? He's like, nah, you got to serve it. So I put the food up on the plate or whatever, you know, and serve the plate. And the dude looks at me, he like, fuck wrong with this nigga, give me this little ass shit. So I'm like, fuck wrong with you, nigga? And so his mans in them, he like, yo, what that nigga say? His mans in them gassed it. Shorty said, what the fuck wrong with you? He's like, yeah, all right, nigga, come to the yard. I'm like, okay, I'll be there. What time? It's all call-outs, mandatory. I'll be there. What time? As soon as we go back, I'll be right outside. However you want to do it. And I ain't even gonna lie, I'm just getting up north, and so not that I'm looking for funk, but I know the first incident of funk, I can't wait to address it, just so I can let these niggas know what time it is with me. It's a few dudes in the jail that know me or whatever have you, but Coxsackie is like the 4 building, but upstate. But now it's even more dangerous, because Coxsackie is full of dudes that was in the 4 building But all of these dudes was in the 4 building in 87, and 88, 86 even. They was adolescents that done came up north a few years before me. But Coxsackie is full of adolescents that got 20 to life. Coxsackie is full of dudes that's 19 that got 30 years. Dudes that's, imagine being in a jail full of teenagers that got life. And so the temperament is completely different. Like, to me, the environment is even more dangerous now. Because these niggas got time. Everybody in there, not everybody, but a lot of these dudes got a lot of time. And some of these dudes got time in. The dude that I was having words with, I noticed that he had an 87 number. He had an 87 number or an 88 number. You know what I'm saying? So now it's 1990. This tells me that he been up north 2 or 3 years already. So I'm like, I don't give a fuck how long you been up north. I just got here. I'm going to tear your head off first chance I get. Because now I got a point to prove. So dudes in the mess hall, the older dudes is like, yo, shorty, don't be beefing with these stupid niggas on the line. Yo, these niggas are stupid. Don't be beefing with these dudes over no food. I'm like, yo, I'm not beefing with them. This nigga like barking on me over the food. He like, yo, you gotta ignore him. Like, nah, B, I just got here. These niggas ain't gonna be talking to me crazy. None of these niggas. I got time too. And again, like my mentality from the island, like the homies told me, you about to be here. So I pretty much, in my mind, it's time for me to set a precedent for the next nigga that think he could talk crazy to me. I go back to the house. I see Big Eminem, because at the time he like my big homie, educating me to a lot of shit, you know what I'm saying? And so Big Eminem, he like, yo, shorty, man. He like, who you was beefing with, shorty? And so I find out who the dude was. This dude named Lil Preem, right? So he telling me like, all right, shorty, what you want to do? I'm like, I'm going to the yard. I'm gonna step to this nigga. He talking about, come to the yard or whatever. Let's get it. So he like, all right, shorty, I'm gonna go out there with you, because he was in A1 or A2, was around a couple of dudes or whatever have you, and like, yo, you gotta watch them niggas, shorty. I'm gonna roll with you so they know you ain't by yourself. I get outside. When I get outside, Eminem stepped to them, really. Like, yo, man, y'all niggas fall back on shorty, man. Little nigga just got here, man. You know what I'm saying? And y'all know he don't got no choice but to serve whatever's on the tray. Y'all know he don't got no choice in that matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, he got to serve whatever's on his tray. So them niggas fell back because Eminem wasn't no joke. I seen that dude, what's the wrestler that used to be pick niggas up over their head? I seen him bench press a nigga over his head and just drop his body on the ground. Eminem had the retarded, crazy strength, you know what I'm saying? He was respected or whatever happened. So that little incident, kind of floated by or whatever. But the fact that I came out to the yard, homie already knew what time it was. Like, all the dudes, there was a couple of dudes that was out there, and there was a lot of live niggas in the jail. To be honest with you, it was a lot of live dudes that was in the jail. You know what I'm saying? And so they see me come outside, and he was like, yeah, but homie talking about whatever you want to do. I mean, I'm still saying whatever you want to do. Don't let this nigga confuse you. He ain't talking. He's not. I'm not. He ain't holding me back. He talking to y'all niggas for your sake, not for my sake. So however you want to take it, you can take it however you want to take it, homie. But I'm outside. And so long story short, Eminem squashed that shit because it was a couple of dudes outside in the yard. When they seen what was happening, they started gravitating towards the situation. And once they started gravitating towards the situation, we know a lot of the same people. So all of those same people was like, nah, man, y'all niggas dead that shit. Yo, that shit ain't about nothing. You know what I'm saying? But homeboy, that same dude wound up messing with chumps too. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was suspect anyway. And I remember my man Big B.O., who's eventually he would go on to be like one of the biggest damus in the state. They call him Soul B. I remember homeboy, was running around with this other dude that was calling himself Supreme, you know what I'm saying? And back then, like I said, it was a lot of guards in the jail, you know what I'm saying? And they stepped to both of them. Like, yo, what's your name? He's like, yo, my name's Supreme. He's like, nah, your name ain't Supreme. You fucking with boys. What's your name? He said, oh, my name Primo. B.O. made them niggas change names. So be. Because they wasn't playing that game. You're not gonna be dealing with that type of activity and come in the name of God, so to speak. So, you know, I would wind up being in the cat for a while because, again, I was in Coxsackie for a while and then I went to court for a long time and I came back. But needless to say, I'm in the mess hall one day and a situation happened with this kid named G. And so the kid G used to get the weed. He knew somebody that worked in a cannery, or they knew how to seal cans, like, you know, the Del Monte peaches and Del Monte fruit or vegetables or whatever have you. He was getting the drugs in the can. And they were sealing the shit up, bringing it to the pop-off. So he was dealing with the brothers, you know, he would get the stuff and then, you know, pass it out amongst a couple of the brothers or whatever. But it was a couple of Spanish dudes that was on the gallery and they wanted in too. So they call themselves pressing, homie, you know what I mean? And dude strapped up. And so it was this one dude that came into jail with me. And when he came in, this is one thing about why gangs is so dangerous. This one dude came into jail with me. He was shookified. He was shook when he came in the spot. You know what I'm saying? You could see like he was visibly shook when we came into jail. And he was just asking mad questions. You know what I'm saying? I was questions too. I was asking questions too, but I wasn't shook. Because I already put some pain and I knew what to do upon dealing with a violation. And this same dude, when he came in the house, he was real quiet, real shook. But then he got around these gang dudes, like the Latin Kings, really was just coming into prominence at that time. You know what I'm saying? It really wasn't a lot of Latin Kings in the system, but they was in the jails. And remind you, this is 1990. This is before the emergence of UBN. This is before the emergence of the Blood Nation in the prison system. So at the time, the dominant factors in terms of black dudes was the Nation of Gods and Earths and the Muslim community. And so if there was unity amongst anybody, it was the Muslims and the gods. And so this kid, homeboy he was shook when we came in, but one day we in the mess hall, and little boss son, who's the older G too, he had a lot of time in, so he used to be educating me to a lot of stuff. We in the back of the mess hall, and I ain't gonna front, he might have saved my life, because we in the back of the mess hall and dudes is having words about something, and the Spanish kid, the same dude that I'm talking about that was scared, now he's associated with these dudes, the Kings or whatever, and I stole on money. When I stole on money, he pulled out the crazy ice pick on me. And when he pulled out the ice pick on me, I stood my ground.
Where you say y'all was at, on the block?
No, we in the mess hall. We in the mess hall, in the back of the mess hall.
Oh, he was a worker too?
Yeah, he was a mess hall worker too. We was all on the same gallery. And, you know, a lot of this would be to deal with the kid G, who was getting the weed. You know what I'm saying? Like, all this little tension was really about the kid that was getting the weed. So, homeboy pulls out the ice pick on me. I stand my ground. But little boss son grabbed me like, man, get your little ass the fuck out the way, yo, before this nigga kill your ass, yo. Cause, you know, just because you're not afraid don't mean you're not making a poor decision. And so he had an army coat. He took his army coat off and wrapped the army coat around his arm. And he kind of jumped in front of me, like, "What's up, nigga?" And he telling me to back up. And to be honest, you know, I had never faced nobody coming at me directly with an ice pick. You know what I'm saying? And he did. And so the kid backed down. He didn't bring it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I thought he was gonna try to bring it, but like I said, I seen that he was scared when we came in, and I knew that he was only moving because he was down with these king dudes or whatever have you. They done gassed him up and gave him a banger. Boom. A couple of days later, I get packed up. I forgot what happened. I refused to do something in the mess hall. I refused to do something that was work related. And when I refused to do whatever was work related, they put me on keep lock, and I got packed up. But behind this same incident, Boogaloo went to the mess hall to deal with whatever beef because the beef is now still kind of transpiring or whatever going on. And I get packed up and sent over to B1, over with my man Crazo. So, I mean, it wouldn't even be a couple of days later in the back of that mess hall that Boogaloo got murdered. The same dude that I'm talking about, so back then when you worked in the mess hall, they had butcher knives and they had all type of very sharp objects in the police office. And you had to give your ID to get the butcher knife or whatever it is, whatever tool you needed for the kitchen. If it was a steak knife, if it was a paring knife, whatever kind of knife you needed, you had to go get the police your ID. And they sent this bubblehead dude in there with his ID to go get the butcher knife.
Who, the same kid that came through with you?
The same Spanish kid, trash dummy. They sent him in there to go get a butcher knife. He gets the butcher knife and passes it off to one of these other two dudes. Now, at the time, Boss and Pito, Puerto Rican Boss and Pito, I was on the island with Boss. Pito was already up north. Pito from uptown, you know what I'm saying? And he was a live dude too. Pito was the quiet storm, I'm not gonna front. He was a quiet dude, but you know, we talked about that. Like, you know, what does a killer look like? You know, a person's appearance doesn't determine what their demeanor is. And so allegedly, you know, Pito and Boss, they killed Boogaloo in the back of that mess hall, yo. Boog had on 2 sweatshirts, 2 hoodies, and an army coat. The butcher knife went through all of that shit and penetrated his heart. And so, those 2 dudes would eventually, I don't know how much time they got for it. I don't even know if they got you know, an additional case for it, but I remember them getting 8 years in the box or some shit like that, like for real. They had gave them dudes 8 years in SHU. And so
did Boogaloo have a banger too?
Yeah, Boog had a banger too. As far as I can recall, he had a banger too. Him and this kid named Ja, Black Ja. But I don't know if Ja was back there with him. But Boog was a stepper. You know what I'm saying? He was a stepper. So he stepped to them niggas by himself. As far as I can recall, and them niggas moved on him and basically killed Boog. And so this was my first interaction with somebody that I knew that I was cool with that actually got murdered in jail. And so They basically
anybody. How old was son like?
I want to say Boog was in his. I want to say he was in his late 20s. You know, and again, during my tenure in the mess hall, me and Boog was cool. You know, he was educating me, handing me game, you know what I'm saying? Telling me his robbery stories and all that, you know, telling me about how they used to get down in Midtown back in the days, telling me about the Diamond District and, you know, how they used to catch their licks and, you know, how they used to plan them out. And so I respected his intelligence, you know what I'm saying? Because he wasn't just talking about snatching chains. They was talking about running down in the Diamond District and taking hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of jewelry. And, you know what I mean, like everybody that was back there, you know, they co-signed that this is the shit that they was really doing. They was really getting to it. These dudes was, you know, jewel thieves, officially. And,
So you said the kid, it wasn't the kid that came through with you. He didn't get charged with that though, right?
Nah, well, he did because he put his ID on the knife. Remember, you had to go back there and get a police your ID, and then they would give you the butcher knife or whatever it is that you needed. And so they charged him because, you know, who had the weapon. The first thing they're gonna do is look, you know, put it like this: if they remove the knife from the knife slot, they drop your ID in that slot. So they automatically, the first thing they're gonna think is, well, was there any knives or any weapons out of the office? Yeah, they go back, check the office, they see homeboy ID in the slot. He was the first one they snatched, the crash dummy. He was the first one they snatched, the crash dummy. And then after they snatched him, he caved in and told on Pito and Boss. And so those two dudes, like I said, I don't know, you know, what happened. I actually seen Pito, you know, 20 years later or whatever. There was like a reunion one time in Harlem. My man, I seen him in Harlem, at a reunion for dudes that had did time. The dudes that did a lot of time. This guy uptown, he does like these little parties, barbecues rather, and they like reunions for guys that did, you know, 10 years and better and all that. So I had got invited to that particular reunion, and I seen homeboy there, or whatever have you. And you know, so he eventually did get out of jail. He did like 20-something joints, you know. I mean, he already had 20 years or 18 in life or some shit like that, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, he probably did. He probably wound up doing, you know, obviously a lot more time than that because of the body. But like I said, the kid, the crash dummy that gave them his ID for the knife, he wound up getting snatched first. After he got snatched, they broke him, and then he told on the other two dudes. The other two dudes, they got snatched up, and I don't know. I don't recall what jail they sent them to. I think they might have sent them to Southport. Now, this was before Southport was the box. This was before Southport became SHU. Southport was a max. It was a max B, I believe. And so it wasn't a full S block, so to speak. It wasn't an SHU jail at that point. So I'm in B block with Darkel, this OG named Darkel, and a couple of
where was you when you found out that the bro had got killed?
I was in B block.
How you heard about it?
So I'm in my cell, and they locked the jail down. Is what happened. Well, but the jail. So you know, anytime in any jail, when there's a lot of times when there's like a riot, or when there's like a near fatality or fatality, they usually lock the whole jail down. Straight like that, especially behind the wall. And we behind the wall. They locked the whole jail down. And so everybody trying to figure out what happened, you know, why we locked down. And so the mess hall block, when the jail is locked down, they have to prepare food for the entire jail. They literally gotta make food trays for each cell block. And so they would prepare the food for each cell block, and they would have inmates prepare the food. And then for the most part, there's too many prisoners for the police themselves to just serve the food. So the police would go get mess hall workers. And so when the mess hall workers came through and the dudes were serving the food, I'm like, yo, what happened, yo? I don't remember who told me, but whoever was serving the food came by and was like, yo, they killed Bug. I'm like, what? Niggas like, yeah, they killed Bug, yo. And I'm like, yo, what niggas did? The niggas ain't do nothing yet. Everything locked down. And so that's how I found out, because like I said, the mess hall workers have to come out and feed everybody else. So whoever it was that came through with the feed up trays, that's who I questioned, like, yo, what's going on? Be like, we like, you know why we locked down? And it was like, yo, they killed Bug, yo. I'm like, yo, they killed Bug. And so Darkel was an OG. He had like 17 years in, you know. And so it was a few dudes in the jail that was much older. And so what happens is, a lot of the OGs, like if they wild out somewhere, if they blast something, that'll be their punishment. They send them to Coxsackie, because don't no old timer want to go to Coxsackie. Don't no old timer with 15, 20 years in, nobody wants to go to a jail full of teenagers.
Same way in Green, niggas be trying to get up out of there. Old timers, they be like, yo, I can't stay here. Old timers be refusing. They be like, listen, I'm not going in there. Y'all gonna have to whoop my ass. I don't want to kill one of these little niggas.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like straight like that. Like a lot of older G's used to refuse that shit. Like, man, fuck that. Put me in the box, yo. I'll do 30 days in the box in another jail, but I ain't going in there with all them fucking kids, yo. You know what I'm saying? And so Daw was one of them older dudes. Him, Big Jeff. You know what I'm saying? Big Jeff, at the time when I met Big Jeff, he had 19 years in. When I met him, he had 19 in. This older G named Allah Just, he was one of the elder guards. Allah Just had 18 joints in. Like a lot of these older brothers, they had a lot of time in. And so to my benefit, you know, I gravitated towards the older G's that was teaching me stuff, number one. And number two, to be honest, the older G's gravitated towards me because I know how to hustle. And like I say, I always carry myself in a manner befitting a G. I never was like into fuck shit, so to speak. I wasn't at the spade table gambling. I wasn't, you know, at this point, I'm not in the yard scheming on nobody jury. I'm not doing none of that. I'm kind of figuring this shit out. So I'm going to law library. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to law library. And to be honest with you, for most of my bid, the dudes that everybody else was scared to death of, they always embraced me. They just like me, you know what I'm saying? Like for the way I move, and then speaking for me, I got a way of looking at dudes. You know, I look at you like I ain't afraid of you. I'm afraid of what I'm gonna do to you. On some for real shit. I ain't scared of you. I'm scared of what I'm gonna do to you, yo. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of dudes used to be like, yo, you a funny little dude. You just be looking at niggas and give them that look like, all right, play yourself. Cause that was my way of communicating pause with my eyes. You know what I'm saying? Because they say the eyes are the windows to the soul. Any man could look you right in your face and see if you playing with them or not. You know, and so for the most part, a lot of my interactions, I was around the illest dudes. I was around some of the illest dudes, and I never really had problems with them ill dudes. And they was robbing niggas. They was doing what ill dudes do. They was doing what ill dudes do. They was in the jail taking shit. You know what I'm saying? Achman and them came from Elmira. Them niggas was robbing everything. Him and Mikey Dread. You know what I'm saying? Motherfucking Al G was there. Fucking Marquise, Waddell. It was a lot of dudes there that, you know, got down for their crown, so to speak. There was a lot of dudes there that got down for their crown. And then the dude on my gallery, which is one of my OGs, Crazo, you know what I'm saying? He from my hood, and he was an ill dude in the streets. And they used to call him Sean O'Grady on my block after this boxer, you know what I'm saying? And he had a knuckle game. And he stood out because he had an amputated leg. He was an amputee, you know what I'm saying? But he used to keep them bangers in his leg. That's how he moved around the jail. Your man always kept a knife on him. He had some type of weapon inside that leg. He knew how to stash them weapons inside his leg, and so the police never found them weapons. And I remember specifically one time I'm in my cell, and Crazy come back over to visit. Now, I was keep locked for some dumb shit. I'll tell you about that shit later, but I was keep locked for some stupid shit. And Craze came to my cell, and he took his leg off and passed me the leg. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck is you doing, B? He's standing there on one leg, like, yo, hurry up, B, hurry up. I'm laughing and shit because he hopping up and down and shit, and he's passing me his leg through the feet up slot?
Yeah.
He passing me his leg through the feet up slot. He like, yo, hurry up, B. Take the leg, dump everything on your bed. So I turn the leg upside down, and mad bags of weed come just falling out of his leg. And I'll never forget because the bags of weed had stamps on it, and the stamp said Machine Gun Funk. And so I'm bugging like, oh shit. I mean, it's a lot of fucking weed, like 20, 30 bags of smoke. And you're like, stick your hand in there and pull everything out. Stick your hand there, dump it on your bed. Hurry up, yo, hurry up. And I'm laughing, thinking, he's like, yo, stop fucking laughing, yo, this shit's for real, man. Hurry up. So I dump everything on my bed. He like, yo, just hold that shit. I'll be right back, yo. I give him his leg back. He throws his leg back on, and then, you know, he go bouncing back down the gallery and shit. He go bouncing back down the gallery and shit. And so the police, I don't know what was going on, but the police came, and like they came and searched his cell. Now he just came off a visit. He just came off a visit. So like right after the visit, they usually don't do that. But he just came off the visit, and they searched him again on some extra shit. And they asked, I believe they asked for him to, you know, take off his prosthetic. So he took off his prosthetic. They searched the prosthetic or whatever have you. Boom. But he was the porter on the gallery. So after they searched his prosthetic, they ain't find nothing in this cell. They like, all right, cool. They let him back out a little while later. He came back down, and then me and him started counting up, like however many bags of smoke that he had. So he gave me a couple of bags of smoke. He like, yo, this for you right here. Give me everything else. He like, yo, don't smoke all that shit up, B. I'm gonna show you what you need to do. And so, you know, back then, everything was about sticks and sugar bags. You know what I'm saying? And to be honest, I hadn't got no load yet. You know what I mean? Since I was up north, I used to get it on the island. You know, Fonta was coming to see me, coming kicking the door in. But now that I'm up north, I haven't get no loads yet. And so, you know, the whole dynamic is different now. So he come back, he like, yo, you know, he showed me how to make the sugar bags. He came back with a gang of sugar from the mess hall. He like, yo, rip the top off and empty the sugar out. I ripped the top off, empty the sugar out. Now he's showing me how to fill the sugar bags up with the weed, and he's showing me how much to put in there. We rolling joints. He's telling me how much to put in the joint, and then he's basically telling me like, yo, these right here, these cost this much. Yo, these joints right here, these cost X amount of packs of cigarettes. You're like, yo, when you go outside, yo, I already got everything lined up. All you gotta do is go outside and drop the shit off. All you gotta do is take it to this person, drop the shit off, yo. He's like, I ain't even going outside because I don't need to be seen out there. I don't need to be seen out there, because once, and it was a smart play, to keep yourself removed from everything. If you just coming off the visit, you don't need to go from the visit out to the yard because it's like you just came from the plug, and then you go. If you just came from seeing your connect, you're not gonna go stand on the corner. And so the same precipice or principle, what was used. If I just came from getting the bomb, I'm not gonna go stand in the middle of the damn yard. You know what I'm saying? And everybody getting hit. They know who went to the visit today. You know what I'm saying? Now they smell all this weed in the yard because the police ain't stupid. They can smell that shit going up in the air. They know who went on the visit or whatever. That's how they investigate based on who went on the visit that day. When you're in the max, I believe you could get a visit every day. When you're in the medium, it's only visits on the weekends. I go out in the yard, I do what I'm told, just like when I was younger, because I grew up around these dudes in my hood, and it was almost the same thing. They was a little bit older than me. They used to, give us the pack, tell us what to do, and you did what you was told to do, because it behooved you to do so, especially me just coming there. Remember, I'm still 17. I'm only 17. Now, I may be a little bit more advanced than the average 17-year-old because of my experiences, but I'm still 17. I haven't even turned 18 yet. This is still 1990, I believe. No, this is early 91, I believe. This is early 91, I believe, because I would turn 18 in February of 91. And when I turned 18 in February of 91, actually, this might have even been after that, because I remember dudes like threw me a little party or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They threw me a little party. They made some hooch. They had some jailhouse liquor. They made some hooch, and we had mad weed, and the mess hall niggas made me a cake and all that because I was young. They like, shorty just turned 18. We're gonna throw you a little party and all that. And so this might have happened, a little bit after that. But again, I still was relatively very young, and I did what I was supposed to do. I would come back with the cigarettes and all that. Big bro hand me the game and let me know what time it is. But again, this was after Bug got killed, and it was just it was a time for me to really embrace what the fuck was really going on around me. Somebody that I know, somebody that I had grown close to, was murdered in jail. And so from this point on, I need to move accordingly. From this point on, it ain't no more playing with razors. From this point on, when they said, there's a saying, I was once a boy and I dealt with childish things. But once I became a man, I set aside those childish things. And when Bull got killed, I set aside all childish things. Anything that had to do, anything that wasn't about some money, or anything that wasn't about law library, from that point on, I'm good on it. I really don't want to be involved in no fuck shit. You know what I'm saying? But eventually at a certain point, you know what I'm saying? Like, certain things just are unavoidable, because Prince, who had got cut in the 4 building, now this nigga Prince done came to Coxsackie. Now Prince and Dre is in Coxsackie. And so some of the individuals that was involved in the borough shit done came to Coxsackie. And so everything that was happening in the 4 building, shit that I thought I had left behind a few months earlier, all of that shit came right back, following me right back up north. all that shit followed me right back up north, because a lot of the dudes from different boroughs, now we all in the yard together, and all of this bullshit is starting to pipe up again, and niggas is choosing sides. It's all starting to go down again. You start seeing the cliques separating. You start seeing PX over here. You start seeing, you know what I'm saying, that the couple of dudes that's over here. And so if one dude from Uptown cut this one dude from PK, you know, now we all over here in this corner, and they all over there in that corner, and everybody is conspiring against each other. And so at that point, now we burying knives in the yard. We stashing weapons in the yard and throwing niggas through in jail. We stashing, like, cause every corner of the yard is considered, like, you know, dude's little court. You got one little table where these people, this group of people might congregate. The Muslims might congregate over here. The guards might congregate over here. You know, the brothers from PK congregate over here. You would just see, hell, even the white boys used to be in their own little area. You know, for the most part, they stayed to themselves, because obviously in prison, they the minority now. They the minority now. They don't want no parts of this adolescent fuck shit that's going on daily. And so, a lot of shit transpired behind, you know, back and forth bullshit. You understand? A lot of shit that was happening on Rikers Island wound up coming right to Coxsackie. Boom. It was this kid named C. Now, Guy Tony was there, and Guy had a lot of beef with a lot of Brooklyn niggas, yo. Cause Guy and Un was robbing a lot of them niggas in the town. And so this dude named Ali, I believe Guy had banged him on the alley. I think Guy stabbed him in his head with a pen or some shit like that. And you know, at the time, I don't know what Ali's response to that was on the island, but when we got up north, he was like, yo, I want to get this nigga beat. A nigga fronted on me on the island, nigga banged me in my head, and I'm trying to see homie about that. So, niggas armed Ali. Ali went and scratched Guy Tony. He either stabbed him or cut him, whatever it was, either way. But Guy knew a lot of dudes from BK. His situation was different, because a lot of dudes, they fucked with him because of the dudes that he was rocking with in the street, but a lot of dudes in there didn't like homie because he had actually robbed a lot of them. Like a lot of dudes that are supposed to be live dudes or whatever have you, you know, Guy was robbing them niggas in the street. And not that they was cowards in the street and none of that. He just was a slick little dude, and that was his hustle. If you get caught slipping, then you got, you know. And so Ali blast Guy. And so now with that being said, now it's turning in, now the kid that cut Guy is from the Bronx. Guy's from Brooklyn. And now this stupid shit is starting to kind of bubble up again, because now this is what it's looking like again. But it really didn't have nothing to do with that. Again, Guy stabbed homie in the head on the island. Now homie see him up north, and he like, all right, I want to get mines now. Boom. Ali, they called him Caviar. He from up there where Dre and Prince is from. So somehow Prince get into words with this dude C, I guess, about this dude Caviar, or the Caviar Guy situation. And the dude C, homie has 17 years in. And he was a very unassuming individual. Now, I ain't gonna front. Me and C was cool. Again, I told you, I was cool with most of the dudes that had a lot of time in. I was just getting up north, and so a lot of dudes that had a lot of time in, again, I'm connected to one of the dudes that's bringing in a lot of the shit in the jail. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, dudes are seeing me as a cat to go see when you need something. I was already working in the mess hall, and so I know a lot of dudes in the mess hall. I'm plugged into the mess hall heavy, all right. And then one of my peoples worked in the state shop. I had peoples that worked in the laundry, so I was smart enough to kind of tap myself in to somebody in every part of the jail that mattered: the mess hall, the laundry, and the state shop. So, like I said, me and C, we was job cool. I ain't had no beef with homeboy at all. But then, for whatever reason, he splashed Prince. C got away with cutting Prince, right? Him and Prince got it on. I ain't gonna make it seem like Prince ain't do nothing. They got it on, but he caught Prince a little something, you know what I'm saying? And they like called to go back. Prince ain't blow it up, you know what I'm saying? Prince kept it low. He went back to his cell type of shit, you know what I'm saying, with the little cut. He found a way to clean himself up. And he went back to his cell. Like the next day, or I don't know if Prince got snatched up. I do remember the next day or a couple of days later, Dre came out. Then Dre went at the dude C, right? And then I think the dude C might have scratched my man Dre a little bit, but Dre tried to blast him first though. You know what I'm saying? Dre went at him first. They might have touched each other or whatever have you. You know what I'm saying? But now, again, it's turning into some more borough shit. And at the time, it was a lot of dudes from uptown, that was strong there. But it was a lot of dudes from BK that was strong there. But the good thing is, to be honest with you, most dudes, if they was comrades, and they didn't allow that geographic bullshit to separate them, basically. You know what I'm saying? They really, for the most part, allowed the dudes that have beef to go at each other. They really allowed the dudes that have beef to go at each other, because at some point, this is where Mano had gotten into a beef. You know what I'm saying? The homie Mano from Hustle Hard, he got into a beef with Lil Boss' son, and somebody passed Maine a banger or a razor to scratch Bar, but I was fucking with Bar heavy. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us was fucking with Bar. Bar from Coney Island. You know what I'm saying? But he was fucking with us heavy. Good dude, real good dude. Any official. Bar had basically was, before he came to jail, your man had made it all the way to the Olympic trials for boxing. That's how nice he was. And, a lot of dudes know Coney Island is kind of a hub for that. Back in the days, at least it was. Coney Island had a lot of boxing gyms out there, and so a lot of the dudes from that area was known for using their hands. And so, homie cut Bar, and Bar did what he did. You know what I'm saying? He put his work in, put hands on him, but everybody from my hood was back in Bar. You know what I'm saying? And then a lot of dudes from the K is back in Maine. And so now it's starting to look like that same bullshit. And being in Coxsackie, being around a bunch of young niggas that got time. All these dudes that we talking about, these dudes ain't got 1 to 3s and all that. These dudes don't got 2 to 6s. These dudes got 8 1/3 to 25 and better. These dudes got 7 to 21 and better. Most of these dudes got time. And so, again, like I said, it's one thing to be in a 4 building and nobody's sentenced and everybody is doing their little thing. It's another thing once you get in the mountains and these niggas got 20 years. And they all going at each other now. You know, Coxsackie would be, like I said, gladiator school, and it would prepare me for everything else to come. Again, me just coming to the jail, within the first 6 months, my homie got murdered. Within the first 6 months of me being there, my homie got murdered. Boogaloo, God bless his soul, you know, he was a good dude, you know what I mean? And then they wound up, and again, I didn't even say this, but everybody that was connected to Boogaloo, everybody that was cool with him in the mess hall, they shipped everybody out to jail. They packed everybody up. They packed everybody up and got them all up out of there. Because they didn't know who to leave there. You know what I'm saying? Like, they in their mind, they pretty much packed up the whole mess hall, yo. They packed the whole mess hall up and hired a whole new mess hall staff type of shit. I think the only person they kept was Big Shakur. Because, again, he was like the head cook amongst the prisoners or whatever. He was the head cook, and they kind of needed him. They kind of needed him because he was really, really good at what he did. He was really good at what he did, but he was also really good at, he was a leader, so to speak. And so he knew how to administrate, and he knew how to get the mess hall workers to work together. He knew how to get the mess hall workers to work together, and he knew how to make everybody understand that, like, yo, listen, back here, it ain't no gangs. Back here, we the only gang. We feeding the jail. We gotta feed our brothers. We're feeding everybody. I don't care who's in what gang. Everybody has to eat. Everybody in the jail gotta eat. So let's focus on the task at hand. And that was kind of his mantra, you know, that I seen at least. You know, let's make sure that everybody eat, you know, and we'll put all that other shit to the side. And so you really didn't see. It was kind of surprising that shit happened in the mess hall, but ultimately it didn't happen over no racial shit. Ultimately, it went down, to my recollection, over the dude that was getting the drugs and who was going to control the dude that was getting the drugs. Because homeboy was getting the boatload. It's not often where you find a dude that he got somebody bringing that shit up and they putting it in the cans. All you need is a can opener. And whatever that label say, if that label say 1 pound, 1 ounces, that's what's in the can. Think about that. In the penitentiary, you know what I'm saying? Think about that. Think about that. A can, a pound, is a small can, but a pound of weed, once that shit expand, man, that's a lot of shit floating around the jail, bro. That's a lot of money. If a nickel bag of weed is worth $25 in jail, imagine what a pound is worth. Imagine how much money is moving around the jail with that right there. And that don't even include if homie was getting narcotics. That don't include if he was bringing in dog food or whatever have you. And to be honest, I think he was bringing in the dog food, you know what I'm saying? That's why the Spanish dudes was going at him, because that was their thing. That dog food. You know, it's dope fiends of every complexion. We're not gonna misconstrue it. It's dope fiends of every complexion. But for the most part, a lot of the Latino brothers, they was into sniffing that dog food. And so, you know, speaking for me, my assumption is that homie was bringing in a little bit of everything. And that's why they was going to war, to control this dude. they was going to war to see who was going to like really be in control of this load every time they come through. You know what I'm saying? But homeboy was black, so Boog and them wasn't going for that shit. Like, nah, fuck out of here, you stupid. He with us. And I don't know if the Kid G was doing business with the Spanish guys and it went wrong, or if they was actually just trying to lean on him. You know what I mean? Of that part, I'm not necessarily clear on. But I do know that it initiated over homie, over the Kid G. And again, now this is the second person that I met in jail that got murdered.
Who?
Tilo.
Oh, you talking about Tilo? Was it first?
Tilo got killed on the island and HDM, and now I come up north and Boogaloo got murdered in the mess hall in Coxsackie. So, I mean, and there's another dude that I knew that got murdered eventually too in Attica, Duval. Duval got killed like in Attica over a fucking army coat. Over a fucking army coat. You know.
What you mean? What you mean over the army coat?
He apparently he found the army coat in the yard or whatever. Dude left his army coat outside. Dude left his army coat outside or whatever. And so the story is that Duval found the army coat, and when he found the army coat, he was trying to charge the nigga. Homeboy like, yo, let me get that coat back, because he had wrote, I guess he wrote his name inside of it or whatever have you. You know, everybody used to write their name inside their army coat. But I mean, the reality is everybody know their personal property. You know your shit when you see it, yo. You don't need to have your name written inside of some shit to know that that's your shit. And so Duval was from the X, and they said Duval had the army coat. He didn't want to get a nigga the shit back. He was trying to charge the nigga like, yo, well, I want 2 packs or whatever he wanted. Whatever he wanted to get a coat back. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't get a dude the coat back, and homie killed him. And homie killed him for the coat. Came outside, you know what I'm saying, like was trying to get his coat back. Nigga didn't want to give him the coat. I mean, I don't think he wanted to kill him for the coat. But when you playing with ice picks, when you playing with that steel, man, listen, it ain't like a razor that's just gonna penetrate the exterior of the flesh. You know, and to be honest, most dudes, it's a bloodlust and there's a rush that come with. Once the violence start and the adrenaline starts going, nigga not just gonna stab you one time and be like, all right, give me my shit back. You know what I'm saying? Like, the reality is, once a dude jump on your ass with that knife, he gonna keep on poking until you stop moving. Because obviously, if he's swinging that knife, you trying to defend yourself too. And you might have a knife too. And it's just like boxing. If it only take one punch to knock somebody out, it only take one puncture in the right part of the body to kill a man. Whether you hit him in his heart, whether you hit him in his lung, whether you hit him in his eye, his ear, his neck, there's so many pressure points on the human body that can cause a fatality. Once a dude get to swinging that knife, yo, ain't no telling like what could really happen. And so like I poked this nigga one time, yo. I ain't gonna front, I was scared to fucking death that I killed this nigga, B. I was scared to death because I'm poking this nigga, I poked him a couple of times and that blood started squirting and shit. You know, I got away from the situation, passed the banger off and all that. This nigga was laid on the ground leaking, and I'm like, oh, shit. In my mind, I'm thinking like, you know, God forbid that I killed this nigga, yo, because I don't want another body. I ain't come to jail to kill another nigga, to catch another body. I'm already in jail for a body. I don't want to catch another body in here. And there's a few dudes that had, that came to jail. There's a few dudes that came to jail, man, with a little bit of time and left with a lot of time. They say, what's the dude named Caballo? They say homeboy had like a 2-year bid or some shit like that, but he killed a nigga on the island. That 2 years turning to 25 or 30 years. And so that's all it take. A couple of dudes. My man Robo Just had, allegedly, God bless the dead, he killed the nigga on the island and he beat him. And he beat it. Another dude I knew, one of the homies, one of the Damu homie, stabbed it, was involved in the stabbing. The dude died on the island. He actually got convicted of that shit. And he wound up doing like 10 joints until he got the case reversed by the New York State Supreme Court. But he wasn't in jail for a crime that he was going to get 30, 40 years for. He came to jail, he was only facing 5 years. And so one of the easiest things to do, believe it or not, and one of the easiest things to do in jail is catch a body, yo. Because if you jump on a dude with the right kind of knife, the same way dudes be in the street, you see about it all the time. Yo, he poked him and he died. Or he stabbed him in his ribs and he died. And, you could stab somebody in their leg and hit an artery and they'll die. How many times you heard somebody got shot in their leg?
I know a few people who got shot in their leg and died.
You see what I'm saying? All you gotta do is hit a major artery, yo. Nigga on my block got shot in his leg and bled out and died. You know what I'm saying? It don't take much. It don't take much. Once you get to swinging that knife, it ain't like these dudes is, master martial artists and they controlling their temperament and they know exactly where to. Man, these niggas just be swinging them knives, man, trying to hurt something. The whole point, once you pull that knife out, you trying to hurt something. But you never assumed that you was gonna kill a nigga and wind up catching another 25 years, especially if you already got sentenced to whatever little sentence that you got. One of the easiest things to do is catch a body in jail, man. And it's unfortunate because, like I said, most dudes, number one, the majority of the time, man, it be black on black crime or black on Latino crime, you know what I'm saying? And, that shit is a travesty within itself, you know what I'm saying? But number two, your family obviously wants to see you in the streets. Your family's sending you money, they're sending you packages with the hopes that you're gonna come home one day.
Yo, let me tell you, bro. One time I knew this girl, and she had a cousin that was locked up. She was from New York. Her cousin was from New York, and he was locked up in VA. I don't know if he was in the feds or what, but she like, yo, I'm going to see my cousin. He's gonna go there. I'm gonna drive down there. We're gonna spend the night, see him again the next day, then we're gonna come home or whatever. So I was speaking to her while she was on her way there. They went, seen him a couple of times or whatever, and I spoke to her. She was like, yo, I'm on my way back to New York from seeing him. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna call you when I touch down. When I get to New York, I'm gonna call you. So when I ain't getting no call from her. I'm like, yo, I call her. I'm like, yo, what happened? Did you touch down? She was like, yo, I'm on my way back to the jail. I said, what happened? She said, we had to turn around and go back to the jail. I said, what happened? She said, yo, they killed my cousin in the mess hall. Sure. Stabbed him up and killed him. First day, in the first weekend in the jail, or first few days in the jail, he had gotten to a beef with somebody in the mess hall, and he got stabbed up in the mess hall and killed. And she was distraught. Because she had just came off the visiting floor from seeing him. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
That shit was crazy. That shit was shocking. And when I heard that shit, I just was like, I done heard about a lot of shit in jail. I was in Green where dudes ain't shit. It was rumors that a dude got killed, but they stabbed this dude so many times that it was amazing that he didn't die. You feel what I'm saying? So I done seen some crazy shit. But when you hear about somebody just coming off a visiting floor with somebody,
with their family, right?
And he already dead. And
right.
She was telling me like he had a lot of time, so he was on some I don't give a fuck type shit.
And see that for me, my mindset was navigate the maze. My mindset was navigate the maze. It wasn't, I'm gonna stab everything moving, I'm gonna blow everything moving. Nah. I'm about to think my way through this shit. If it get to a situation where I gotta gun something down, I'm gonna do what I gotta do, because me, I went to the sheet metal shop. And so that was one of my programs for some time, sheet metal. My brother, do you know what you could do with sheet metal? Man, I was in there making all type of retarded Jason Voorhees shit, yo. I was in the sheet metal shop making Michael Myers knives, man, making retarded shit. And it got to the point because I would take that sheet metal, double it up. I would get the spot weld two sheets of sheet metal together. So now I got reinforced steel. Then I go to the grinding machine. I'm grinding this shit down to damn near Ginsu sharpness.
How you was able to do that shit without the civilian being on point?
Because I already done mastered the class, and now that I mastered the class and did everything that he's telling me to do, he's not studying us like that. Like the dudes that he's studying is the dudes that haven't learned everything yet, so to speak. The dudes that haven't learned anything. And then to be perfectly honest with you, my man T-Quan from the BX, T-Quan was in there with me. So T-Quan would go over there and shoot the shit with him and distract him for me. T-Quan had a way of disarming the people. Like he had a way of like talking to people where they can make them relax, to let they guard down. You know what I'm saying? And so T-Quan would go talk to the dude. T-Quan was a very knowledgeable dude. And so he would go talk to this white guy about white guy shit. He would go talk to him about white guy shit. He would go talk to him, and not that baseball is for just white people, but he'd go over there and talk to him about the baseball game. He would chat him up about football. He would chat him up. All what T-Quan would do is probe him about sheet metal and probe him about what he knows. And white guys love to tell you what they know. And so he would go over there and probe him, ask him mad questions, and he would, pretend to be just super interested in everything that's going on, or be super interested in learning more about the trade. He would pretend to be super interested about, when I go home, I want to learn how to like make gates and like put the gates on people's stores, and I probably could make a lot of money doing that. And so the guy would go into whole conversations about all the applicable uses of sheet metal. And while T-Quan is chatting him up about all these different uses of sheet metal, how to make rain gutters, how to make gates, how to make, just all this different stuff, how to apply sheet metal to doors, how to reinforce the sheet metal, how to make a safe box out of sheet metal. He would chat him up about all this different stuff. And while he's doing that, I'm over there sharpening knives. I'm over there using a spot welder, and I'm spot welding two pieces of sheet metal together. I'm fashioning weapons. I'm fabricating steel. And so dudes would come to me and be like, you could get me one of them joints? And I was charging top dollar. Because the shit that I was making was that John Rambo shit. The shit that I was making was official tissue, the Jason Voorhees knives for niggas, the Friday the 13th shit for you. Straight up, I was making some guns, and I was selling guns. I'm making these ill weapons, and I was making like, you know, the Gemstar razors.
Yeah.
Imagine a Gemstar that's sheet metal thick, but Gemstar sharp. And so it's easy to break a Gemstar. I seen them shits break. I seen Gemstar blades snap right in half. I seen dudes cut dudes and snap the blade. But I was making Gemstars, the same shape and all that, out of sheet metal. So, out of sheet metal, thick, strong joints. If I make you one of these, bruh, as long as you got it, this shit right here, you're going to have a piece of steel that's going to work.
And you said that was the shit that the mag don't be picking up?
No, the mag is picking it up now. That part is completely up to you. But consider this. Niggas used to walk through the mag with Gemstars all the time, bro. You see what I'm saying? Consider this. Niggas, they go through they walk right through the mag with the Gemstar all the time. You got Gemstar in your mouth, you go through the mag. You got a Gemstar, you cheeking that shit, you can go through the mag. Dad, niggas had ways. They used to take the book of matches. The book of matches, you know, the striker on the matches. It's something about that striker that kind of masks. That used to kind of mask metal. So dudes used to get multiple books of matches and wrap the Gemstars up with all of them multiple books of matches, and that shit would kind of mask it would mask the metal from the magnometer. That was one way. Or another way was some dudes was just boofing them shits. Some dudes was just boofing them shits. You know what I'm saying? And so again, you getting it around the jail, that's completely up to you how you gonna handle that. I have my way of getting around the jail because I used to clean the Justmo. You know what the Justmo is?
No, what's that?
The Justmo is like being court. The Justmo is being court. The Justmo is court for the inmates. It's like when you catch a ticket and you got to go to your hearing.
Yeah.
It's the office where you have your hearings and all that shit.
They be having like waiting benches and shit.
It's exactly, and they also have an evidence locker in that motherfucker. And so this police named Red, right? Nigga named Zendel with the red hair and he was like an Irish dude with the bright red hair and the green eyes. And so upon looking at him, you would think that he was a straight redneck cracker you would really think that he was on some straight redneck cracker shit. But I'm not gonna front. Dude used to like let me rock though. He was cool as long as you wasn't disrespectful to him. He was cool. And because I did a good job, the nigga Red used to let me do whatever I wanted to do for the most part. You're Red, I need to go to A1. You're Red, I need to go to B2. You're Red. And so my job was really cleaning the hallways in Coxsackie. So at night, once everybody else lock in, I'm in the main hallways, the hallway outside the mess hall, the hallways outside the galleries, outside the blocks. They had one dude to clean one side of jail, one dude clean the other side of jail. So I would sweep, get the dust mop, sweep and mop, do my job first, and then the last thing we do is go to the Justmo. We go to the courtroom shit. Now, this is where the plot thickens, because let's say you got knocked with a razor, or you got knocked with a knife, or let's say they took your property, they took your army coat. You had too many army coats. You got too many of this. You got 2 loud mouths. You got 2 radios in your cell. You got shit you're not supposed to have. Everything go to that office. Everything go to the Justmo. Anything that's contraband went to that office. That's where the contraband locker was. And I was the only dude in the jail that had access to the contraband locker. So almost every night, the police, like I said, he would take me in there to clean the guard, because the captain office was in there too. So I would go in there, clean the I would go in there, clean the garbage bags, sweep, mop. Oh, and I had to use the buffer. I used to have to use the buffer in the hallway too. That's how I learned how to use the buffer. So I would have to buff the floors and all of that shit. But it had its benefits because, again, any contraband taken or removed, he used to give that shit to me. So I got a loud mouth in my cell. I got shit in my cell that most dudes don't really got. You know what I'm saying? And if you was my guy, and you come to me and be like, yo, they took my coat, they took this, they took that from me. I would go to Red and be like, yo, Red, that's my man, yo. They took my man shit, yo. He'd be like, yo, who took it, though? First, we got to find out who took it, because he didn't want to necessarily have a conflict with another CO, you know what I'm saying? Like, in returning they shit to them. And so we'll go down there, look at the ticket, see who took the shit, and Red would be like, yeah, fuck him. He's an asshole. Fuck him. Like, a lot of the police that was real dicks, because a lot of them don't get along either. And so I always use that to my advantage. So Red would give me the shit, and like one time, that's how I lost my job. Was one of my homies got knocked with like a banger, or some shit that he was about to get a couple of years in the box for that shit. Like he got caught with a couple of bangers. You know what I'm saying? And I went up in the contraband locker and I took the evidence. And so it's the same thing as going to court in the street. If you go to court and the evidence is gone, the case goes. And so, I mean, there was, other people, because there was inmates that worked in there. There was inmates that worked in there during the day, assisting, like doing administrative work, doing the paperwork with the tickets and all that shit. And so some dudes might be able to look out and make your ticket disappear. Or some dudes might be able to like they would take the ticket and ball that shit up, but the tickets came on carbon paper. And so if you ball the shit up like a baseball and then you flatten it back out, you can't read none of the words on it. And so if it's illegible, they got to throw that shit out too. And so we had our ways of interfering in the process. We had our ways of throwing a monkey wrench in the police shit. But eventually, they kind of caught on to me, or they caught on that it got to be an inmate that's stealing this fucking evidence, show. It's too many cases happening where these dudes is getting caught with weapons and shit like that, and then the evidence is disappearing. But I was like, yo, have y'all considered that the police ain't to follow the right process? Because the CO, he used to be watching me. He would be watching me while I'm cleaning up the spot. But if he went outside and he get to running his mouth with the other police, I'm up in that locker. And I'm bagging shit. I'm snatching shit up. And all I got to do is throw it in the garbage that I'm leaving with. Because remember, I'm cleaning the garbage cans out. So all I got to do is take the bangers, throw the bangers in the garbage, and leave with the garbage. And now, if my homie is facing 2 years in SHU, his case probably going to get thrown out. Because it ain't no evidence. So that was like one of my illest jobs right there, because I really had a chance to move around the whole jail. I moved around the whole jail, going to pretty much everywhere, any house I wanted to go. And that's how I used to move bangers around. That's how I used to move the razors around. I would literally just go from house to house, cleaning up houses and shit. And I would ask them, like, yo, Red, I could run down there and go get a pack of cigarettes from my man. He was like, go ahead, hurry up. But I'm really going to pass the banger off. Like, yo, Red, can I go down there and grab some soups and shit? Or, yo, can I go get my man some cigarettes? He'd be like, let me see. And he would search the cigarettes, make sure nothing was in there or whatever. He would search the whatever it is I told him I was passing off. He would search the shit, make sure nothing was in there or whatever. And then I would use that opportunity to pass all the weaponry off. So I did that shit for a long time, selling knives, selling guns. And then one of the big homies came to me and was like, yo, B, you gotta stop that shit, man. I was like, why, yo, I make good money off of that shit. Like, some of them knives, my nigga, Shit, I was getting a whole carton of cigarettes for one of them shits. Like, you know what I'm saying? I get 1 or 2 cartons of cigarettes for a nice jammy. Shit, some of them niggas I said be like, yo, give me $50 for real. Give me. I need some real money for this shit right here, cause I was making some shit. And so, needless to say, one of the big homies, one of the older G's came to me and was like, yo, man, I want you to fall back on that shit, yo. I'm like, wow, yo, I'm getting paper off of this shit right here, you know what I'm saying? And we all strapped up, and we got bangers. He like, yeah, but what happens when you sell a banger to somebody that hit us? What happens when your work wind up hitting one of us? And I'm like, damn, I ain't think about that shit. You're like, yo, you selling these niggas knobs, you don't know where that shit gonna wind up at, yo. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, we need to keep that shit limited to our people. We need to keep that shit limited to our people, our family, so we know where them guns is going. You're like, but once you sell that gun to this dude, you don't know who they passing it off to. We can't risk one of your bangers or one of your razors hitting us. So after that shit, I kind of fell back on distribution. You know what I'm saying? I still was making them, but I fell back on distribution because what he said made 100%, and I definitely didn't want to be the one that sold a knife that wound up stabbing one of my mans. Coxsackie was different. That whole time I was moving around different. Because again, I told you, I'm thinking my way through this shit. Everybody else running around with they tough guy bullshit, that stupid shit, ignorant, whatever shit that they was on, my man. I'm trying to get some money, and I'm trying to slide out of this motherfucker. And eventually, I went to the industry. And the industry is where you make the furniture for state office buildings. And so whereas the average inmate make 10 cents an hour, if your program is the yard, you make 10 cents an hour, yo. You ain't making no money. If your program is sheet metal, welding, masonry, you might make $20, $10 or some shit like that. You know, that's what your program would pay you. If you worked in the mess hall, your mess hall job, depending on your job, you might make $50 working in the mess hall. You know, this is, you know, every week when you go to commissary, this is what's in your joint. You might make $50. When you work in the industry, this may sound petty, but you could make up to $3 or $4 an hour. And so, even though this shit is slave labor, that $3, $4 an hour, you know, that shit turns into, you know, $89 at the end of the week, $100 at the end of the week, or whatever happened. Like, you know, and for a dude in jail, a dude that ain't got nothing but time, that's good money. When you go to commissary every time,
yeah,
and
you can take care of yourself. You ain't got to depend on nobody in the streets.
Nobody. You know what I'm saying? You can take care of yourself. Now you ordering shit from the catalogs. You ordering sneakers. You ordering your long johns and your sweatsuits and everything that you getting. You basically taking care of yourself. And it's a lot of dudes that have been in jail so long that they lost all their family members. They don't got mommy to send them packages. They don't have family members to send them packages. They don't have, you know what I'm saying, a support system, so to speak. They don't have that support system no more. So, you know, if you got that good job, you the supervisor, and you making $150 every commissary, you up. You up because you saving mad bread. You saving mad bread. I remember this dude named Karate Kid. Him and his co-defendant Conan. They used to be studying martial arts and shit, and they beat this dude to death or whatever in the street. and they caught a lot of time. And I remember sitting down with him, but he was a really smart dude, and he had mapped out how much money he was gonna make. Cause he like, yo, I got 15 years. This how much money I make monthly. This how much money I'm gonna make yearly. This how much money I plan on having. He said, I'm gonna spend this much money at commissary. Every time I go to commissary, I'm gonna spend this much money, and this how much money I'm gonna save. By the time I leave jail, I'm gonna have 10,300. Da 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 da. He had mapped his shit out. So if you smart, you can actually leave jail with a lump sum of money. You can actually leave the system with a lump sum of money if you smart, if you saving. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of dudes, they be ordering bullshit, or they wind up, or they spending money on drugs and getting high, trying to run away from their reality. You know, but you getting high, the cell ain't gonna change. The shape and the size of the cell ain't gonna change, and jail ain't gonna change. So you better off saving your money. You better off stacking your bread. You know what I'm saying? And so I wound up, after a while in the industry, I saved up some bread. And there used to be shit going on. It was an honor dome. And I got lucky, went down to the honor dome. Now I'm down there for a little while. Mind you, now I'm only 18. I just turned 18, so to speak. And I went down to the island, came back up north, and I'm only 18. Let me see here. I went down from the honor dome. Went down to court from the honor dome. When I came back from court, I pretty much was there for about 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And they packed me up and sent me to Green, yo. They packed me up and sent me to Green. And so now, in my mind, they telling me like, yo, you got a 7 to 21. I'm thinking all that time I'm going to do behind the wall. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that you could go to a medium with that much time. I didn't know you could go to medium.
They had changed it. I think they had changed it where they was letting people go with 8 and under.
Exactly. That's exactly
that. Yeah, before that you had to have like 5 and under to go to a medium.
That's a whole fact. So boom, I come out to the yard one day. I come out to the yard one day, and it's a circle going on. I see the cipher over there, but it's not a cipher. It's a cipher full of guards, but it's not a cipher with the guards building on, Allah's mathematics and all that, like learning their daily lessons and stuff like that. I see the cipher going on, and dudes is rapping. And when I get over there, I had always been into rap. I've always been around it. My man Cool Ted Love, Ill and Al Scratches from my neighborhood, or rather Al Scratch. We're my homies. Al Scratch is from my hood. So it's my man Gotta, Dougie Fresh is from Harlem. Obviously, there's a few dudes from Harlem that I was inspired by musically. But when I was on the island, I used to be spitting on the island, you know what I'm saying? And I ran into a lot of dudes on Rikers Island, from DMX to K Solo. I ran into a lot of dudes that I found inspiring lyrically or whatever. So I kept writing my little raps or whatever have you, but I wasn't that nice just yet. And so I walk into the corner, and I'm listening to these dudes rhyme, and I'm just kind of blown away, cause I hadn't seen dudes this nice since I've been in the jail system. I mean, like, every dude that spit, like, they just went back to back. They ain't even stopped rhyming, and they just went back to back, and they had like a routine put together. And when I'm hearing the rhymes, I'm like, yo, these niggas is nice. And so I don't want to spit my little raps because I'm not there yet. But Born, he got this thing where if you standing there listening, he gonna ask you like, yo, you rhyme? And I'm like, yeah, a little something, you know what I'm saying? Like, well, let me hear something. You know, and that was his thing, like God said, like Knowledge B said, like, if he hear you rhyming, he gon' check for your rhyme skill and see where you at. You know what I'm saying? And then he want to make sure you're not gonna bite his style, and you're not gonna bite the style of what you hearing in the yard. But I'm not analyzing it like that just then. At the moment, I'm just thinking like he just checking, you know, just to see where I'm at with it. So I spit whatever I spit, and I be like, yo, you got something. You got something with you. He's like, you got something with you, yo. He was like, yo, write something tonight, yo. Come outside tomorrow. I go in my cell. I write a rhyme. You know, back then, EPMD was out. The headbanger. So I went back to my cell, and I'm listening to the headbanger beat. I come back outside the next day. I spit my little rhyme. He like, yo, you got something. So I would, you know, I be on the cell block, and I would spit my little rhymes for people, you know, and try to get a gauge. And they'd be like, nah, you got something, B. You ain't nice like them 7-Up niggas, but you all right, though. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I knew, like that was the 7-Up was a gauge. And you wanted to be, if you was rapping, you wanted to get your rhymes up to the level where you could stand in a cypher with Born and them dudes. And so I come outside one day, and I think first Scotty, Black Scotty introduces me to Knowledge B, and then
Knowledge B or Black Knowledge.
Black Knowledge. That's what we used to call him, Knowledge B. Black Knowledge, the same knowledge you talking about, but we used to call him Knowledge B. They call him Black Knowledge now, but we used to call him Knowledge B. And you know, Nils, Nalo, Knowledge got AKAs out here, but so you know, he introduced them to me as like, yo, this Knowledge B, you know what I'm saying? And then you know, also known as Black Knowledge, but we get in the cipher or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Then Born introduces me to him again, like, yo, you know the God? You know the God? Yo, the God got rhymes too. And so we all stand there. Everybody spit their verse or whatever have you, but I'm still not feeling like I'm there yet. But the one thing about IB, he had a way of encouraging you to do your thing. Like, even if you wasn't on his level, you know, some dudes that just hit you with the, man, that shit is trash. Niggas will shoot your shit down like, yo, that shit garbage, yo. You need to take that shit back to the drawing board. That wasn't IB. That black man, like, has always, as long as I've known him, he really always been a poor righteous teacher, yo. He really always encouraged you to learn, and he encouraged you to be better at whatever you was doing. So it was at the behest of Black Knowledge and Born that I went to college, because every night, you know, they would be in college together taking classes and writing rhymes, but they would use college as a way to link up and sharpen each other's sword. So every day, Knowledge getting better. Knowledge be getting better every day, and I'm doing my shit in my cell, writing my shit in my cell, trying to sharpen my sword. But so then I finally sign up for college. I knocked my GED out. Then I signed up for college. I signed up for the paperwork. I get the TAP grant. You know what I'm saying? Back then, the state would give you a grant to go to school, and they had these things called TAP grants. And the TAP grant was like a state-funded state-funded finance for your education. And so back then, the state would pay for you to get a college education, and it's an actual fact that the majority of the individuals that became college educated did not participate in recidivism. These men that got collegiate level educations did not go back to jail. You know, and so a college education made a huge difference. And so now I'm going to college. And another thing is, the reality is, like, if you don't go to school in jail, you're not going to school in the cat, at least, you don't get a shower. You get a shower every other night. And so that made me not even want to work out, because I don't want to work out and then come back to my cell and take a bird bath. And so I signed up for school also so I could get a shower every night. Because if you're going to school, they got to give you a shower. So that was part of my thing too. So needless to say, you know, I got into college, and getting into college helped expand my vocabulary. Getting into college helped me really begin to articulate myself, because we had to stand up in front of the whole classroom and give like our little lectures. You would have to write a thesis on something, and then upon completing your thesis, you would have to stand up in front of the class and give your dissertation. And so this would strengthen my public speaking abilities. And so now I would take those public speaking lessons that I would get from the college courses, and I would take that out to the big yard, and I would practice it with 7-Up. It got to the point one day where I wrote this rhyme, and the rhyme was tough. And then IB was like, all right, you ready? You ready now? I was like, ready for what? He said, he said, you want to be a part of 7-Up? And I'm like, hell yeah, yo, I like that. I like the thought of that. You know what I'm saying? And so I was one of the last members to get invited into the 7. And so at the time, 7-Up was 7 guards with 7 verses. And the hooks were so strong because they was practiced and choreographed, and Abon had a crazy ear for cadence. And so the same way the Treacherous 3, a Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5, all of our early rappers in the game, they all had these routines, and the routines would bounce off of each other. And IB had a way of coordinating, writing the hook, or somebody else would write a hook, and he'd be like, yo, that's the hook right there. And he would use that, his abilities, and sync our sounds. For lack of a better expression, he would use his abilities to literally sync us together. And I think it was the synchronicity in the music that made it so good. And so ultimately, when you would hear 10 years later, when you would hear a Wu-Tang, when you would hear other large groups of MCs moving together, this scenario, when I would hear this music later on, I would flash back and be like, damn, we was doing this shit in the yard 7 years ago. We was doing this shit before these dudes was even thought of. But mind you, it's brothers, you know what I'm saying, that's part of Wu that was exposed to what we was doing. And so I would give Abon like super duper props, because early in the game, he had formulated and had 7 brothers outside in the yard rapping, and it would draw the entire fucking yard, and everybody would be watching it and listening in awe. And the police in the gun tower, they usually would break up any crowds. They would usually break up any crowds, but Abon had come to prominence even amongst the correction officers, they knew that he was leading us in music. And so we would get a pass for having a large group, because in the system in jail, they only really allow 5 people in the group, depending on what jail you in. You know, some jails only allow 3 or 4 people in the group. They don't want you they don't want you conspiring. They don't want too many. They don't want it to. They look at it as gang activity when they see people building. And I once read a philosophy in a book, and it said, talk is the seed of revolt. And so if you can speak to each other, if you can communicate with each other, you can revolt. You can fight back with words. And our born had given us a way to revolt without being violent. He gave us a way to revolt without hurting each other. And I always really cherish that black man and appreciate that black man, because I think that may have been the only time during my tenure, you know, in prison, or even in Coxsackie for that matter, when we outside rapping, it ain't nobody fighting, ain't nobody cutting, ain't nobody stabbing. Everybody really is coming outside because they want to see a concert. And I thought that was amazing, how that man just put us together and just found a way to fight back without hurting nobody physically, without creating no black on black crime. Because God, that black man has always been a poor righteous teacher. You know, as long as I know him, he always moved off of intelligence, and he was just incredibly wise and incredibly articulate. He used to say the wildest shit out his mouth, yo, but he would always speak with the knowledge of truth. And so I think that was very important, and it's very important to my life story, because when I got out of jail, I called Iborn's mother. I left him a message. How you doing? Can you just let Iborn know that Malik is home? And so I left him a message. He was in California at the time. A couple of days later, he comes home. His mom's tells him, oh, by the way, some guy named Malik or Mecca called here, and he said to tell you that he home. IB calls me immediately and says, yo, what you doing tomorrow? I'm like, I don't know, bro. I just got out of jail. I'm probably going to get like underwears, t-shirts, and socks or something. I don't got nothing. Only thing in my house is what I left from when I was 16, which is not much. And he said, yo, we going to LA tomorrow. I'm like, huh? Yeah, we going to LA tomorrow. You coming with me? And so everything that we had done in the prison yard, all that rapping, I had left Iborn in like 92. I left him in 92. I didn't come home until 99. But when we was in that yard, that black man made a promise and said, yo, I go home and get on, I'm put everybody on, yo. As soon as I get home, I'm putting everybody on, yo. If I get on first, I'm gonna put you on, yo. If you get on first, you put me on. And so, throughout my tenure, a lot of dudes made a jailhouse promise. A lot of niggas made a jailhouse promise. And some dudes had the best of intentions, but when they get out to the street, they discipline, or they get distracted by everything, whether it be women, whether it be money, whatever it is. They get out to the streets, and they just go astray, and they go the direction that they was going. But that black man kept his promise. I got out of jail. Probably, when I came home, Iborn was home for 6 years already. He was already home for 6 or 7 years already. I left him in 92. I didn't see him again until the summer of 99. That's 7 years later. I called that man, his mama house, 7 years later, he called me back, took me on tour with him. He had got a record deal with Reprise Records, which is by the way, Reprise Records. It was Warner Brothers was the parent label. Reprise Record was the imprint, but Reprise Records is Frank Sinatra's label. So this is major. This is beyond just yo, I'm down with, being down with Def Jam and all that shit was cool, but to be signed to Frank Sinatra's label, to me, that just said something totally different. KRS-One was the head of the label. His brother Kenny Parker was still DJing as a part of the label, and I met a lot of people through that relationship. But that man took me to California with him. I went to the first Source Awards in LA. We went from California to Vegas. We went to Northern Cali, Southern Cali, drove through Vegas, drove to San Francisco from LA. We rocked shows all over California, all off of Jailhouse Promise. All off of Jailhouse Promise. So when that black man say, word is bond, I will always believe him for the rest of my life. Because that man told me in jail, I'm going to do ABC. And when I got out of jail, he did exactly that. ABC. He ain't do XYZ like everybody else. That man did exactly what he said he was going to do. So that's why I think that's one of the most important parts of this. That's the most important part of me being in Coxsackie was meeting Arbonne, because today I'm an artist, a creative, a film director, a film producer. I produce music. Everything that I've done has been attached to music. When I got out of jail, I was on the Dave Chappelle show. I worked at the Apollo Theater. Everything that I've done, my foundation was laid in 7-Up. Everything I've done was laid in 7-Up, and it was because of Arbonne. Obviously I put my own work into, and I followed my own path, but Arbonne gave me the platform, let's just call it a trampoline, and he gave me the trampoline to bounce from that level where we was at to a whole nother level. I've been on television and movies. I've done wondrous things from the foundation of 7-Up. And so all those brothers really mean a lot to me, because Wise came home. Wise got exonerated after 20-something years in prison. Like, these brothers got stories, but the fact of the matter is, I don't know. They say God send you what you need, and God gonna send you angels, even when you're surrounded by the devil. And being in Coxsackie, that shit I was surrounded by demons, yo. Most of the dudes in there was incredibly dangerous. The police was even more dangerous. You know what I'm saying? The police was even more dangerous. I remember the police shooting at us in the yard. We done got shot at in the big yard. In that center yard, police done bust them AR-15s at us. And it was like them shooting at us, shooting that fish in the barrel. I'm hiding under the table, and you can hear the bullets ricocheting off the metal table. And
shooting
so
again, for what?
Dudes popping off. There was a one time this dude splashed the police in the yard. And it was just a pop off. The Kings, I want to say like the Latin Kings and the Muslims had got into a confrontation, and the police, well, one or two COs might try to run out there and break it up, but once it turned into, because it'll start as a 1-on-1, then it's a 2-on-2, or it might be a 2-on-1, then it's a 5-on-5, Then it's a 10 on 10. Then next thing you know, it's 30 dudes fighting 30 dudes, and it ain't nothing the police could do to stop it, except tear gas or gunshots. Because once them knives start swinging, police don't want no parts of that shit. Police don't want no parts of that shit. Once them knives start swinging and all that, police don't want to stand in the middle of that. And police know they could get banged up too. They know. They know. There was this one creep-ass police in there named Smitty. He had the crazy long $150 on his face. This Muslim kid tore his ass up. The Muslim kid cut him with a can top. He cut him with a can top. You know, the can top is even worse than a Gemstar razor. He hit your man with a can top. And so that police was a super asshole because inmate tore his ass up. So every morning he look at that scar on his face, he remembered that an inmate did that to him. So every time he stepped out on the yard, he just shitted on inmates every opportunity he got. Every chance he got, Smitty was shitting on dudes. He was a fucking creep that is playing a razor on you anytime he got a chance. And there was a lot of cowardly dudes that he would pretty much extort. He was pretty much on some telling inmates, yo, cut him, cut that dude over there, or I'm gonna put this razor in your cell. So you got the police putting hits out on inmates. So when I tell you the devil is always busy, the devil was active, them demons was active in there. Cause that police was lining niggas up, yo. Straight up. He was the head police on A1 or A2, you know what I'm saying? And there was dudes up there that was following the police orders. Cause they didn't want to get set up with a banger. They would go cut somebody. Or them same house Negroes would take a weapon and throw it in your cell for the police. Like, it was shit going on in the cat, yo. There was shit going on in that cat, yo. That's why, man, like I said, that 7-Up was a game changer because it gave us something to do, yo. And it really was a great distraction from niggas hurting each other. You know what I'm saying? Jail, shit gonna happen how it happened. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna keep it real. I was never a proponent of black on black crime. You know what I'm saying? I came to jail with a certain knowledge of myself. You know what I'm saying? I think I always knew it wasn't right in this act for us to be hurting each other, but the environment was the environment. You do what you gotta do to survive. You know what I'm saying? You do what you gotta do to maintain. And like I told you, my mom's told me, don't come home with one of them long ass scars on your face. And so in my mind, nigga, I'm listening to what my mama say. I ain't think about none of you niggas. I'm not leaving up out of here with no scar on my face. If I get an inkling, if I get the slightest inkling that you plan on doing me bodily harm, I'm at you. I'm at you first. Straight like that. And like I said, I ain't have a bunch of beefs that was my beef, per se. I ain't have a bunch of beefs that was my that was my beef. Cause most dudes will tell you that nigga Malik is cool, yo. Mecca Don is cool, yo. I've always been cool, calm, collective, and thinking my way through most situations. Until we get to the point of violence, I'm usually thinking my way through the situation. And even when we get to the point of violence, I'm still thinking my way through the situation. Why? Because I'm trying to get away with it. I had a simple philosophy when I was in jail. You in jail because you got caught. Let's not make a habit of that. So I'm in the habit of getting away with it. If I'm going to get up on you, I'm going to do my creepy crawl. I'm going to get next to you. I'm going to touch you and slide off. Especially, it's more because most of the dudes I wind up touching, man, most of them dudes, once they got blasted, all they did was back the fuck up and go the other way. A lot of them real tough niggas, the ones that be pushing the issue, the ones that want to prove to everybody else how tough they is, as soon as they see their own blood, they go the other way. All they do is hold their fucking face, go the other way, go get stitched up. They either tell or wind up going to IPC. If they don't tell, they wind up going to IPC, and I ain't never have to deal with that individual again. Because like I said, most of them so-called tough dudes, they not as tough as they would lead you on to be. They not that tough. They, you know, again, people have to show you a certain face for them to, you know, make it look like, oh, I'm tough. But like I said, man, my whole game was always, I ain't scared of you, dog. I'm scared of what I do to you. I'm trying to get up out of here without catching another case. Yeah, that's just like in terms of the cat, that was the most important part to me in Coxsackie. All that other shit that happened, it is what it was. Dudes cut each other, dudes stabbed each other, niggas snaked each other. Borough bullshit went on, borough bullshit went away. The dudes that was mature enough to stray away from all that bullshit and be their own men, they stood on their own too. You know what I'm saying? You had dudes that was following other dudes, you had dudes that was leading other dudes. You know what I'm saying? In my case, I always followed my own lead. You know, and if I did follow, I was following something like 7-Up. If I did follow, I was following somebody like, you know what I'm saying, like at the time, Big B.O. was there. Big B.O. would eventually become known as Soul B. You know, and when he came there just really just schooling us. He really just came there just schooling us. He was a big homie. He had his props from HDM. He had his props. His name was ringing bells all over the island. Yeah, his name was ringing bells all over the island. He used to run with Randy Love. And so me being from Harlem, you know what I'm saying, he was running with Randy. You know what I'm saying? I had respect for that. And like I said, I was influenced by educators. I was influenced by dudes that could teach me something. If you can't really teach me nothing, skip along, yo. Go the other way, my nigga. If you can't teach me how to get no money in here, if you can't teach me how to get no money when I get up out of here, you'll skip along, my nigga. I'm good on you. I'm good on you because I already know how to cut. I know how to stab and I know how to fight. I could do that shit on my own. I don't need no assistance in fucking my own shit up. If I'm going to get keep locked, if I'm going to go to SHU, it's going to be because I made a decision to do so. If I'm going to get keep locked, if I'm going to go to SHU, it's because you violated somebody that I feel that's close to me, that's worthy of me spinning. But I never was spinning because I'm gonna do this because you're doing it. Nah. That was never my MO, and I think ultimately I always gained my own respect everywhere I went because I always moved on my own. And if you see me around somebody, you see me with dudes that get busy, but they not getting busy for recreational purposes. Niggas ain't trying to be going to the box for nothing. If we going to the box, we going for a reason, not for the season. Straight like that. And so yeah, bro, that's pretty much that though. I just wanted to get that off because I feel like 7-Up is probably one of the most integral parts of my life. 7-Up is one of the most integral parts of my life. Like I said, I met Born, Knowledge B, Black Knowledge, Wise, Saigon. Saigon was, I didn't meet Saigon in jail, but he would eventually become part of 7-Up. Shit, Saigon was signed to Just Blaze. You know what I'm saying? Like people from 7-Up wound up doing things. And again, ultimately, like I said, because of Born influence, he really had a positive influence on my life. And he still got a positive influence on my life to this day. You know what I'm saying? That black man in the Nation of Islam, and he really just always carried out. He always lived this long. A lot of dudes just talk that shit in jail and they talk that shit in the yard, but he really lived it. And so you could see it when people is living it. And when people living it, you know who the real Muslims is in jail. You know who the dudes is that's praying 5 times a day, and you know who the dudes is that's Muslim, but just because they want protection. You know who the dudes is that you know they join something because they want to be a part of something, and you know who the real people are. They join something because it really resonated with them, and those are the people that it will become. There are very few people that I met that turned Muslim in jail that was the same people when they got out of jail. Very few that really followed their deen. There was very few individuals that was guard-body that lived righteous lives when I met them in the streets. You know what I'm saying? So Like I said, I born that black man. He played a part in saving my life, yo. Cause when I got out of jail, like I said, homie got right at me, and one of the first things he said to me was like, "Yo, I know how you get down, bro. I'm not even gonna let the streets get their hands on you, yo. I'm not even gonna let the hood get close to you. You coming with me, God." Straight like that. I'll never forget him telling me that. You coming with me, yo. And you know, like I said, certain men are worthy of me following their lead. And that black man was worthy of me following his lead. And he led me all the way to California, all over the country. All over the country. You know, and he also led me on how to deal with these industry dudes. You know what I'm saying? How to deal with the record label dudes that I was dealing with. Because me and Knowledge was aggressive. We came home, we was aggressive in our manner in dealing with them, and not aggressive in terms of being mean, but we was aggressive in protecting our bond, and we was also I'm gonna say we weren't belligerent individuals. I think that's what I'm looking for. We wasn't belligerent, but we was aggressive, and so when we seen something wrong, we stepped to it. Like, yo, why he don't got this? Yo, why he don't got that? Yo, why we don't got this? Because while I was in jail, I had read Kashif's book, Everything You Need to Know About the Industry. So, you know, I had some knowledge in terms of the record business because I had read a couple of books from people that had been successful in the record business. And so IB used to be telling me, yo, God, just chill, man. Y'all ain't got to be so aggressive, man. Y'all be pressing these dudes, man. These dudes they not accustomed to that, man. They gonna be apprehensive to deal with y'all. But, you know, speaking for me in my own manner, you don't have to say yes to everything. And it's all right to question people. And those people that don't like you being questioned, then they pretty much the 10%. They hiding information. And that most of the record business, if you seen throughout your life, you hear people getting robbed by the music industry. You hear dudes getting jerked by the record label. You hear dudes getting jerked by their manager. But most of them got jerked, if for whatever reason, because they ain't want to question them dudes. They ain't want to question their tactics. And so that was my whole thing. I'm questioning these dudes. Why this dude is doing this? Why we ain't doing that? Why we ain't getting this? You know what I'm saying? But, you know, it turned out to be a beautiful thing. You know, because like I said, that brother introduced me to something that was life-changing. And there's not a lot of dudes that can actually say they met somebody in jail that told them they was going to do something, and they followed through, and they've been the same way for the rest of their life. To this day, Iborn calling me like, yo, come jump on this record. Yo, I need you to help me with this video. Yo, let's talk about doing this. Let's get this music stuff together. To this day, 30 years later, that brother still is a positive influence on my life. So I'm grateful that I encountered homie, and I'm grateful for the brothers of 7 Up.